All right, good sir. We should be live. Let me just make sure.
You want me to do the intro or you?
Let me make sure that we're actually good.
Okay. How's
Okay,
the delay?
we are good. The delay looks awesome, and everyone, welcome to tonight's edition of Pro League. I'm joined here with Cam, who's down in the pits and on the mic,
How's it going?
and we are looking forward to a fantastic evening of races. We have multiple events lined up, multiple qualifying sessions, multiple races, finals, everything all across the board. We have well over 100 drivers registered this evening. That's right? We have a ton of people.
Yes, we do. So if you guys tuned into our live stream last night, we had around, what was it, 20 drivers? So this is about 5 times as many competitors out here tonight. We're running multiple heats. We're going to be racing for a couple hours straight here. So be sure to tune in throughout the night. We got plenty of racing going on.
And another thing that's a little bit different to yesterday is the conditions. We have a wet track, and the rain is still coming down as we speak. It's slowed down a little bit, but it has been raining all day long, and the track is slick.
Got a
Goodness
lot of drivers
gracious.
out here very excited for this rain.
How
So
is the track looking down there? It looks greasy.
we've got quite a bit of standing water on track. There is still some rubber left on track, so not all of it has been washed off. It's very important that these drivers pay attention to the condition of the pavement as they're going over these puddles. If you haven't raced in the rain before, the rubber line that you would usually take during the dry is actually extremely slippery. So it's very important that they stay far away from that and they stay very aware of the other drivers around them because everyone's going to be slipping and sliding out here.
Absolutely wonderful. And I see we got a couple of people in chat. We got some people rooting for Josh and Parker. And yes, I'm so glad that we were able to get this live stream set up. We have some great racing in store for you guys tonight. And let's see how this goes. This is Heat 1, I believe. So as these drivers go out, this is Heat 1 qualifying. So we'll have Heat 2 later on. This is Heat 1. So this is approximately, around half of our drivers. So we're going to have like 40, 50 people out on track all at once in these crazy conditions.
If you guys didn't tune into the live stream last night, my name is Cam. This is Stuart, my co-host.
Hello.
We are here representing Panthera Collective with Orlando Kart Center tonight. We are honored and privileged to be able to work with them. They've been very generous to allow us to get kind of behind the scenes, get into the weeds with them, and kind of show what we do here and get people involved in the racing, even if they can't make it tonight. So very excited to show what we can do, what everyone's going to be capable of, and it's going to be interesting.
Absolutely. And one more thing to those watching, if there are any issues with the stream, do not hesitate to let us know. More than happy to fix anything. We have everything set up here. There are some things that we just cannot tell, such as lag, audio things. Just let us know. We are more than happy to fix it because we want to give you guys definitely the best experience that we can. And we look to be around 8 or so minutes away from green. It is 6:52. I believe that lights out is at 7 o'clock for qualifying to begin. We still have a couple of moments as people are still getting set into their carts. And that's honestly going to help out the drivers as the track dries out just a little bit more. It's not raining at the moment, but we're really going to see these times tumble even as this first session continues on, as the water gets sprayed away from the racing line.
I'm actually going to do a little bit of pre-race research for us real quick.
Yes,
So if you
please, go
guys
for
can
it.
see here, we're actually running on dry slicks for this race. So there are no treads on these tires whatsoever. So there's nothing for these tires to be able to move the water out of the way. And essentially with a race slick, when you're racing in conditions like these, individual tires will be hydroplaning at different times of the race. So it's very important to pay attention to your steering wheel inputs and how the cart is responding to your inputs as well, because one side of the cart can be very grippy and the other side can be completely off of the ground because of the water.
Cam,
So there's a lot of
really quick, slight aside, I'm so sorry. I have just received an Orlando Kart Center shirt for you, just in case you are down there in the pits for a little bit longer. You should come and grab this.
okay, beautiful.
Yeah, in fact, we have a couple of moments before the race starts. I have this right here for you. Daniel just gave this to me.
Awesome.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Camera feed looks great. We have pretty much no lag. We have still a couple of moments until we have the action getting started.
So if someone has never come out to a league night
This is
before
Kenny's
here
warming
at
up right there.
Orlando Kart Center, Stuart, could you give them an explanation of how this works, what our operation is here?
Sure. So this is round one. Here we go. Excuse me, not round one. This is like mid-season, I'd say, of our pro league, and our pro league is open to the public. Anyone can join it. Tonight we have well over 100 people, even with these insane conditions. Here we go. Hello. No one's out on track just yet. So yes, this is our league. It runs every Friday weekly. Open to everyone. And it looks like we have karts getting ready to go out on track. This is our first session. Heat 1 qualifying, getting ready to go. Hi. Heat 1 qualifying, getting ready to go. And here we go indeed. Goodness, you can see the spray already getting kicked up. Yes, indeed. This is some of the best racing that you get into. Open to everyone. Of course, this is a great way to get up to speed. And as well, on Thursdays, we have our Advanced League, the Super League. And the top 20 drivers from last season's league are now competing in the Super League. Oh, yeah.
So, Stuart, tell me about what the difference is between the league event that we had last night and the one here today.
Absolutely. So last night we had a much more condensed field. They were driving different karts. So we had around 20 drivers all out there competing in our pro karts. Today we are in our rental karts, which is completely open to the public. These are the karts that if you just show up at Orlando Kart Center and just start driving, this is what you're going to be driving. Let me go ahead and bring up the leaderboard so we can see how much longer is left in this session and who is setting the best times. Yellow flags and some spins are, of course, going to be natural side effects of the conditions. However, it will be all about survival tonight.
Absolutely. There's a lot of risk when it comes to racing in the rain here, and it's not just about the conditions. There's a lot of different drivers moving around. Everyone's taking different lines than usual. So every bit of preparation that you would make for a dry race isn't very useful in this type of situation. It is an entirely different art form in order to push a kart to its limit in these types of conditions.
Absolutely. Now, Cam, question for you. Can you, maybe after this session, because we want to get some good footage here, of course, you know that bridge on this garage that you're now looking inside, the bridge that kind of overlooks turn 8 and 9? Ooh, Cam, you're a little bit far away from the router. It's starting to lag a little bit. You might want to go off of cellular service. Just an FYI.
You have a VPN on. I don't know how to turn that off. It's okay. All right. How's connection?
It's all right. It's all right. We might need to come back a little bit closer. Yeah, you see, if you look up to the right there, you see what I'm talking about? That could be a really good spot, and there's like no one there.
Okay.
So we can already see such different lines people are taking around our iconic turn 7. People going way out wider than they ever would in the dry, trying to search for grip. As our first batch of times are coming in. And it looks like that we have a couple of pro karts out there tonight. So we'll have a mixed grid of different karts out on track. Let's extend our leaderboard just a little bit. Our best time is a 1:33.7 set. Is this an iPhone 17 or iPhone 3? We are running this off of my good old iPhone 14, connected to us with OBS, all nicely set up over track Wi-Fi. And yeah, the speeds, we're going to see people going very, very different speeds as they're trying to get up to grips. Different packs, of course, that inherent risk of running nearby your competitors, getting bounced slightly offline, getting into those water puddles. We'll see how that comes into play as this continues on. However, no one trying to fight each other too much. This is just qualifying as people are still going side by side. 3 wide as we have a spin into turn 8. I can guarantee you that will not be the only one that we see. However, not the race, just trying to set the best possible lap that they can. So they still have plenty of time left. I say plenty of time left. However, there's only around a minute left in this session. So people are going to have to start hurrying up a little bit. And again,
one thing.
Yeah.
I was going to say one thing that might not cross people's minds when they're watching a race like this is that there's actually a lot of decision making that goes into driving these karts in the rain. When you're going back to the topic of warming your tires up, it's actually very important to pick which line you're going to be racing on, whether it's the regular dry line or the off line, because it's going to warm your tires up at a different speed and in different positions on the tire. So you can choose to go out even wider than the rain technical line, and there will be less water on the track, so it will warm your tires up faster. But it tends to be a bit more unpredictable than racing closer to the rubber. You don't want to be directly on it because it's very slippery, as we mentioned before. But
Yeah.
being close to that area is usually the sweet spot. So we'll see a lot of different drivers, as Stuart mentioned, taking different speeds, taking different lines through here, trying to find the best combination to warm their tires up and still set down a good pace.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's this rain racing is some of the most fun that you can have out here in a rental league such as this one. These carts just lend themselves so well to being able to take different lines and really, really extracting the best possible time. So it looks like the qualifying is going to be coming to an end. So it looks like in the Pro Series, we have our pole sitter. Let me extend the leaderboard just a little bit so we can see the names slightly better. Not working that well. We have a couple of moments.
The fastest drivers in the correct pace whenever we start the race, they're going to individually regrid one by one after this qualifying ends.
Oh, Cam, that angle looks fantastic. This will be fantastic because we can see the start-finish rate as well.
Beautiful.
Have a couple of issues. That is bound to happen with how many people are out on track. However, for the most part, people have done a fantastic job to keep it as clean as they can.
There is definitely a lot of commotion already. I've witnessed probably 5 or 6 spins already coming into this. We have one cart parked on the side of the track currently. So there's a lot of commotion going on. There's a lot of different stressful situations that drivers are being put through before the race has even begun. We are currently under a red flag, it looks like. We are stopping the race entirely.
Perfect. That's likely just the end of qualifying.
Okay, beautiful. Yep, we're gridding up now.
Perfect.
How's the connection? Are we still good?
Dude, we are looking fantastic. I'm just making the leaderboard a little bit easier to read. There we go.
Perfect.
That is nice. Yes, we are doing great. Yeah, that's the end of qualifying. Let's see how this race is getting underway. We are allowed to go out onto the track for some camera angles. We're not going to be doing that tonight, however, because of the rain. And also, we were able to get some good grid walks yesterday for the Pro League, or excuse me, for the Super League. However, for the Pro League, each session there is such a minimal amount of time in between qualifying and the races. We're not going to be trying to get a grid walk. However, we will be able to catch up with our drivers before and after each race in the pits as we can. However, it looks to be that this race is already going to be starting pretty soon, as people are going to be getting their times shortly from management and be able to get out on track for Heat 1.
There's a lot of intensity, a lot of emotions going on in the drivers' minds. There's a lot of unpredictable events that can happen here. There's so many different puddles scattered around the track right now. The track is also going to be drying out as more people drive across it. So the track is ever changing throughout the night tonight. There is going to be many situations that drivers feel they know the track in a corner, but end up being completely blindsided by the conditions. And that's all a part of what racing in the rain is all about. So we're going to see who can manage it the best, who has the best strategy here, and who can react to their situations in the fastest manner, I guess.
Absolutely. Fastest in more than one way, of course. As this track is going to keep changing, of course, we'll have to keep our weather eye to the sky if more rain comes down. However, the track is just going to be naturally evolving as the dry line improves and gets less and less greasy. And it looks to be that we have not the extended turn 10, however, the shortened turn 10, so that is going to be even less time for drivers to try and maneuver their way around each other when this race gets underway in just a couple of moments.
Absolutely, and it's a smart move for them to cut that straightaway short, because it can get very risky coming into that hairpin at the end. These carts are carrying a lot of speed and can get close to 60 miles an hour, battling inches from each other. So in rain conditions, that, to be brutally honest, is very dangerous, and doesn't always lead to interesting racing. So they're going to get plenty of speed by this corner. We're definitely going to see some great battles coming out of this section here. I'm very excited to see some switchbacks and some sneaky little maneuvers to get a position out of here.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for the support, by the way, Austin and Mr. Jam. Yes, we do drive. We have actually just competed in the 12-hour endurance race, and we've both been driving since we were very, very young. And we're wanting to use this opportunity to combine our knowledge from being out there on the track ourselves and with our knowledge of being able to cover stuff with media. So yes, we have driven for a very long time, and always love getting behind the wheel.
Absolutely. And as we mentioned before, Stuart and I are here covering under behalf of Panthera Collective. We're actually going to be posting a documentary from the 12-hour race of 2025 coming here this weekend. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Um, little context as we're going underway on who I am, what I'm doing here, why Orlando Kart Center has trusted me with this position. I started racing back in 2008, around 5 or 6 years old. My dad was ex NASCAR, so I've been doing this for about 18 years now. My home track was initially Anderson Race Park down in Clearwater, Florida. That's where I learned how to drive initially. I moved to Central Florida around 2022, and I've been racing at Orlando Kart Center for about 3 years now. Had some incredible opportunities to meet guys such as Stuart, and we've been running endurance races here. We've been shooting photos for invitationals. We've done a lot of little popping in and out as time goes on, but we're hoping to make that more consistent coming soon in the near future. So,
Indeed,
Stuart,
indeed.
Stuart, why don't you give a little introduction?
Sure, yeah. So, excuse my voice, guys, by the way. Oh my gosh, it is a long story. But no, so I've been driving also since I was just a little kid. I've been coming to Orlando Kart Center since I want to say 2018, 2019, so quite a while at this point. I've competed in the league for years. I have competed in Orlando Cup at a whole bunch of endurance events. Have the absolute privilege to work with some really great guys such as Cam. Gotten some great results in those endurance events. I had a great time competing in Orlando Cup and some other regional events. And as well as that, also have been in charge of my own YouTube channel for a while, so that's kind of where I learned how to do live streaming and that type of content. And this has been kind of a perfect storm, excuse the pun, of the rain, but a perfect storm for us to kind of swoop in and be able to get some really sweet coverage of these great events that Orlando Kart Center has been running. Yeah, this league has been running for a very long time. However, with this format, it's only been going for around a year or so, and it's already gotten so much support from drivers, fans, everyone alike, as it looks like more and more people are starting to join the grid. However, we have so many people out on track for this race. And I see a couple of drops maybe starting to get a little bit of moisture back out on track. We will see as it gets a little bit closer to lights out.
This new version of the league that they've been running for about the past year has really brought out a new sense of energy and competitive spirit in these drivers, because there's now a tier system. The race last night that we covered was the Super League, so that was the best of the best battling it out, and this is the proving grounds. So depending on how you view it, this could be a more ruthless race than the previous one, because people are trying to prove themselves out here, trying to get to that Super League. There's a lot on the line here.
Yes, there is. And we haven't even talked about championship implications. We have a championship leader at this point that has a pretty substantial gap. I can pull up the championship standings in just a couple of moments, maybe after this race in between sessions. However, that championship is all important because the top finishers this year will be able to be invited into the Super League and drive those all important pro karts. So these guys are really going to be battling it out all evening long, trying to make up lost positions essentially in the championship. This is very important. These guys are going to be really out here gunning for it in these very intense conditions.
It looks like the track marshals are now sending out the last of the drivers to enter the official grid. We're
Perfect.
roughly 5 minutes away from the race start, if I had to guess. We are getting quite a few drivers lined up here. Do you know how many drivers are in this heat, Stuart?
I'm not sure. However, I know that registered there were well over 100 drivers. So and just the eye test is proving that we have around 40 to 50 drivers. I can tell you who is in the top 15 of our grid, and currently it is on pole position in the pro class. We have LAS with a 1:31.3 lap time. In second place in the light class, we have Ethan Fulse with a 1:31.9. Just behind, also in the light class, we have Ethan Miller with a 1:33.1. Just behind Ethan in P4, we have in the heavy class, Josh Brada. In P5 in the pro class, we have Dachin Elhard. And then in P6 in the heavy class, we have Steven. P7 in the light class, Joey. P8 in the light class, Adrian. P9 in the light class, Augustin. And then in P10 in the pro class, we have Carson. In P11, in the heavy class, we have Aiden. In P12 in the pro class, we have Omari. And then in P13 in the light class, we have Jonathan. P14 also in the light class, we have Austin. And in P15, our pro driver, Harry Hunt, closes out the top 15. And it looks like, is that nearly everyone joining the grid now? Is that nearly it?
We've had some slight difficulties getting to the grid, but we're almost there. We've got pretty much everyone lined up, ready to go now. All we're
Awesome.
waiting on is the track marshals to make sure everyone is safe and prepared for the race, and we'll be good to go.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Fantastic. Yeah, these conditions, we are really going to see some very, very intense action as we get started. So,
Absolutely.
Cam, I'm going to zoom in slightly on your feed just so we can get the race started a little bit more, and then I'm going to zoom back out once we get underway. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really quick.
I will keep it as still as possible.
Perfect. All right, I've zoomed in quite a bit. Our feed is slightly smaller now, however, it is looking fantastic. Just keep that in mind. It's like the center bit of your feed is what we're actually seeing. Really more. Yep. All right, let's do this. On the final couple of moments before Heat 1 of tonight's Pro League gets underway.
Track marshals have waved the first green flag. We have a big section going into the back here.
All right, we are underway for Heat 1. Let's see how this goes. Looks to be pretty clean so far. I don't see too many people going off track.
Oh, we've got some commotion.
I can see the yellow flags waving. However, it looks like our leaders have gotten away pretty well okay, although the gap's already so incredibly large as we are now having drivers roaring past us into turn 7, into turn 8 and 9 as our leader goes just steep enough to be able to get right back on the throttle. As now we have drivers going around the outside of each other in turn 7. That speed discrepancy of different drivers already proving itself to be pretty evident. As now the yellow flag waves as so many drivers so close to one another are now coming into this very, very tight section. Doing their best just to maintain their position, not trying to lose it. As the yellow flag continues to wave as we likely have a spin into turn 8. As our marshal looks to be, oh, there's our driver stuck at the exit. However, it looks like they're going to be all right as the marshal goes to fix that up. And as this first lap comes to an end, we will be able to see timing update and see where everyone is.
Oh, and that looks like Ethan Fultz, who started P2, who got spun into the barrier coming through the first corner onto the main straight. That is very unfortunate.
Oh no, that is unfortunate for Ethan after such a dominant qualifying in that light class, setting pole position in that class by over 2 seconds, losing it on the first lap. However, that pace will guaranteed pay dividends for them later this evening. As currently leading in the pro class, we have Elias, who started on pole position for that class. Starting in front in the light class, we have Joey. And then in front for the heavy class, P10 overall, we have Josh. Excuse me.
Setbacks like the one, unfortunately, Ethan had to go through right at the beginning here are going to be popping up left and right throughout these heat sessions. There's so much that affects the kart in the situation that you can and can't control. So it's a lot of pressure for these drivers, not even considering the amount that's on the line for them, depending on their position in the finish.
Absolutely. It's such a balancing act on when to push and when to just hold on to the kart and try your best not to lose it. There are going to be multiple sessions. Of course, we have lots of racing in store tonight as the yellow flag waves again into turn 8. As so many drivers so close together, just trying to make it through. Yes, we're going to have multiple races, so these guys are going to get a second chance in their Heat 2 for their group. So even though things may have not gone well for Ethan in this race, that pace, again, will help them out later on this evening.
Speaking of Ethan, he has made up some serious room on the rest of the pack. I've had the privilege of racing with Ethan actually back in the 12-hour in 2025, and he is a very calm, collected, and calculated driver. He's not going to take something like spinning early on lightly, and he's definitely going to show what he's capable of throughout the rest of this race.
Absolutely, yeah. No doubts at all that Ethan will continue to make his way back up as Elias continues to set the pace in the pro class. Leading.
And Ethan Fultz around the outside makes a double overtake going past the flag. That was a huge move.
Wow, yeah, once you know where the grip is, it really, really just helps you. Of course, but especially so in these conditions. Experience can help you so much, especially here at OKC, where different grease patches continue to pop themselves up, as it looks like rain has continued to fall. And according to my camera feed and according to looking out on the track, it looks to be raining slightly more again. Is that accurate?
There are some drops starting to fall off of the roofs here. I can see there's definitely a little bit more precipitation in the puddles. The track marshals are being very careful through these technical sections to make sure no one gets too squirrely going through the apex. So it doesn't look to be too bad just yet. Looking across the track, I can't see any rain specifically falling through the sky. So we will keep you guys updated on if it's getting better or worse. We shall see.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And it looks like we have just around 5 minutes left into this race. We will probably see some quite extravagant moves as this race continues to play out, as this rain is also continuing to play out. The all-important overtaking spot in turn 13. We've already seen a couple of good moves done into there. Cam, everything all right?
Yep, just moving positions for the end of the race really quickly.
All right, all right. Aha, we have boots on the ground in full force in this turn 8 and 9 section. And Elias currently in the pro class is running away with it. That gap looks to be nearing around 10 seconds, as that pace is just very, very smooth from Elias. Down in the heavy class, looks like Josh is also running away with it. No heavy near him for the lead of that class. In the light class, our current, wow, it is really starting to come down. So even though the dry line has started to form, it looks like all that progress out on track is going to be washed away quite literally, as we see some people starting to take some wet lines, pure wet lines in this very technical section. As I was mentioning, our current leaders are Elias in the pro class, Josh in the heavy class, and then in the light class, Joey still leading this Heat 1 race. This is actually a very, very good angle that you have. We can see the different mentalities and solutions that these drivers have had to come up with the rain. It is a very, very different formula of driving in the wet compared to the dry. As you can see how much more speed is being carried by people depending on what lines they're taking.
That's a very good point, Stuart. So I want you guys to pay attention to their steering wheels as they're passing us here. You're going to see some very different techniques going through the drivers' minds as they enter these corners. Some of them are going to be hitting puddles. Some of them are going to have better carts than others.
Ooh, as we have a spin into turn 9, however, looks to be that person has already gotten back underway. Yes, they have. It looks to be all right. It's such a very exciting spot to be able to be getting coverage from.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen in a race like this, absolutely. And if you're looking into this corner here, this is one of the most important corners on the track, in my opinion. And coming out of here right now, the rubber line is entirely covered in a puddle right now. So if we watch these guys come through, as they cut on the inside, if they cut a little too far, they have to counter steer out of that corner because how much grip they're losing almost immediately as they hit that section. So it's very important to pay attention not just to the drivers around you, but the pavement as well, because not only is it dangerous, but it's also going to be changing throughout the race, as mentioned before.
Absolutely, and this all-important technical section sets you up for the back straightaway going down to the hairpin of turn 10, which is always a fantastic overtaking spot. This is a very, very important spot, as we can see some drivers going for the outside line, inside line. Whether it pays off one way or another, we will see as Ethan continues to make up ground after the early incident, as this race now nearing just a minute left of Heat 1.
Ethan Foles is showing no mercy after his incident earlier in this race, taking absolutely all the track that he can while still considering the conditions. And we have another spin through the technical section. This is very important for drivers to pay attention to because it can happen in an instant. You can be fully set on your line and someone can spin out in front of you and you have to completely change your strategy, not just for that corner, but the corners following after as well.
Absolutely, and you can lose so much time after just losing the tires for just even half a second. You can lose these carts. It is so much more of a driver's challenge in the wet compared to the dry.
Another thing I'm noticing, I don't know if it picks up on camera, a lot of these drivers' helmets are entirely fogged up on the inside right now. Some have chosen to vent theirs slightly to try to avoid this, but there's only so much you can do, speaking from experience. It
Absolutely,
is
yeah.
it is a very real struggle to be able to see, even in conditions like this where rain isn't coming down, but there's a lot of water on the track and a lot of moisture in the air.
As we have a late move and a wow, but we had a very late overtake attempt that caused the spin of a driver at the exit of turn 9. Those little overtaking moves can be so difficult to pull off in the wet course conditions.
Ethan coming from the outside.
It's difficult to just drive by yourself, let alone try and get around people, as Ethan nails the apex, getting around some more people. Now down to turn 10 as the race looks to be over. This looks to be the last lap of the race as we see people coming right past us in turns 8 and 9.
We're already off to a great start here at Orlando Kart Center for our league night tonight. The conditions are ever changing. The drivers are aggressive as ever. They're ready. There's a lot on the line here, and they're ready to take it.
Absolutely. So yes, that is the end of Heat 1. And of course, for Heat 2, for this group, which was Group A, their finishing order will be reversed for the top 20 finishers for the next race. So we'll see people that may have not had a good turn of fortunes in this race get a second chance of life, essentially, in Heat 2 later on.
And as the drivers are coming into the pits here, we have our Heat 2 section getting ready in the carts. We have Alex Roberts at the front. Quite a few drivers up here ready to go. This is going to be the regular rental class. So these carts were actually updated about 3 months ago. So these are all new chassis. These are grippier tires than we saw in the pro class last night. So there's a lot at stake here. There's a lot to consider as well. Things are going to be changing throughout the night, as we mentioned before. There's a lot of unpredictability built into the race here tonight.
Absolutely. And really quick, just to recap for Heat 1, our winner in the pro class was Elias. Then following in the heavy class, Josh was your winner. And then in the light class, Augustin ended up getting the win ahead of Joshua. Really quick, Cam, your camera is very smudged.
Very smudged? Okay, hold on.
Got a little bit of that Florida wet right there. Nice.
Yeah, we're bringing the Florida humidity straight through the screen to you guys today. This is a very immersive experience here at Orlando Kart Center.
I feel very immersed. I feel like I'm right there. Oh, that looks a lot better. Nice job.
All right, cool.
So that was a very fantastic job by our drivers in Heat 1. And now next up is the other Heat 1 for Group B. Since we have so many drivers registering, we've had to split up our drivers into these different groups. However, everyone's still going to get the same amount of driving time, 2 heats, and at least 1 final for everyone this evening.
All right, and as Heat 1 heads back inside to prepare for their next heat coming up later on tonight, Heat 2 is already seated and ready to go. We have staff double checking everyone's safety procedures, making sure everything is fully cleared and ready to go for our race tonight out here in Heat 2. We have some very competitive drivers here in Heat 2 as well. A lot of, do we have some champion contenders in here?
We do, absolutely we do. That's actually a good point that you have. Just because we have our other league, the Super League, with the top 20 finishers of last championship, that doesn't mean that the competition is still not just as stiff in many situations in this league. There are some drivers that just compete in the league part-time and weren't able to get into the Super League as a result of that. So there are still many good drivers competing in this pro league.
Absolutely, and Alex Roberts was actually another driver that drove with us during the 12-hour in 2025. Also a very collected and calculated driver. When it comes to rain, I know this is his bread and butter. He loves any kind of challenge that's going to put other drivers at risk, make things unpredictable, and open up opportunities to be able to get an overtake where you usually wouldn't be able to find one. He's very talented at that. So
Absolutely.
It's going to be interesting to see how he heads off into this qualifying.
Absolutely, and it's actually funny that you mentioned Alex. That's another one of those drivers that did not compete too much in last season's championship, however, is still right on the pace with everyone in that Super League. So that you will be definitely want to watch. Ethan, another one of them, and so many other drivers with much experience that are just still racing in the Pro League, just because the Pro League is just, it's fantastic. You just show up and race, be able to push the limits of a kart here at a fantastic facility like Orlando Kart Center.
And that leads into our point from before of just how unpredictable this race can be. It's not just about the conditions, it's not just about the karts. The drivers that show up can be entirely unpredictable as well. There could be a new
Absolutely.
guy who completely smokes the entire field. There could be a chaotic event where someone doesn't quite know what they're doing and ends up spinning. There's a lot of different factors that go into this, and it's going to be interesting to see how each of them react with each individually have different levels of experience here, have different strategies going through these wet lines, and most importantly, different levels of experience in the rain. Because the only way you can
Yeah.
truly prepare for an event like this is seat time in the wet. So depending on how much the drivers have actually gotten the chance to do so, is going to vary how much they're capable here.
Absolutely. Yeah, there are many things that you can, essentially prepare for, whether it's on a sim, going over footage, all that stuff. But the feeling of driving in the wet at an event like this is very, very hard to replicate in training.
Absolutely. No matter what you do, there's really nothing that can prepare you for a rain race like this. It's something that is always going to be throwing you wild cards. It's always going to be bringing new opportunities to learn and grow as a driver as well. Um, it is always something I recommend to people who are asking, how do I become a faster driver? Go out and just race in the rain, man. It's such a good
Absolutely.
teacher to be able to show you where your flaws are. It's going to point those out like a sore thumb. There's so many opportunities out here to improve on top of the competitiveness between them.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's very, very far and few between melting pots of talent to be able to grow yourself as a driver and be able to race against some fantastic competition than a league evening in the wet at OKC. It looks like that we are getting ready to go back green for Heat 1 of Group B.
All right, and as the staff finish moving the carts out of the way, getting everyone ready to go out for their stint two, this is the first group, or this is the first race for this group of drivers so far. This is the second heat group of the night tonight. We have 3 groups total, if I'm remembering correct.
That sounds about right. Either 2 or 3. I believe that we have 3 tonight because it is a very, very full evening.
Awesome. Well, we love to see everyone coming out here tonight at Orlando Kart Center. Despite the conditions, despite the competition, everyone's coming out here and giving it their all. It's absolutely amazing to see. There's so many
Absolutely.
opportunities here to prove themselves and to build themselves as a driver as well.
Absolutely. And it looks like in just a moment. Yes, indeed. Those are our pro cars hitting the track for Heat 1 of Group B. Far from the router. Looks to be okay now. It's coming in and out. That's some rental cart. Or excuse me, that's some track Wi-Fi for you. But there we go. Now we're all good. That's the last batch of the rental start to come out. Sweet. Yeah, no, that looks fantastic. It's funny how it comes in and out sometimes. You give me the same spot and then it works one time and then it doesn't. As our rentals continue to pour out onto the track, as the rain continues to pour from the skies, it looks to still be raining. I can see the reflections from the puddles of drops hitting the track. So even though we had so much running, the track could still be just as slick as before last race because of the rain continuing to form. The reason why I mention that, and the reason why I mentioned that a couple of times, is oftentimes when the track is wet, as running continues, the track continues to evolve, it gets drier, lines start to truly form, you can actually start to, tumble down those times more and more as you drive. However, this evening looks to be a little bit special because the rain continues to fall no matter how many times laps are done here this evening.
And as we move up here to the track viewing area, I want to point out just how many drivers went past me coming out of the pits there. There are so many karts on track at the same time here that not only are each individual kart going to be changing the conditions of the track as the time goes on, but it's also just that many more chances for a mistake to happen. So it's very important for drivers to pay attention to what's going on around them. It is a true test of their focus and spatial awareness. It's going to be very interesting to see how each driver handles each challenge individually.
Absolutely. And it looks like we have around 3 minutes left of qualifying. Not that long for these drivers to get up to grips. Of course, that experience really lends itself to this situation of already knowing some of the things that you need to do in this kind of situation, as there's not that much practice before heading into the race once you get to this point of the evening.
It looks like we have a spin out in sector 1 or 2 back there. They're very quickly trying to sort out the situation. Spins in these tight corners can very easily lead to a chain reaction because drivers are trying to adjust their lines correct to move out of the way and not run into them, and can end up spinning themselves out of moving just a little too quickly in these wet conditions. It's very important that you stay as smooth as possible because, as I mentioned before the race, there are no treads on these tires, so there's little to nothing helping them in terms of grip coming from the chassis itself in order to keep them on.
Absolutely. One thing of note that should be mentioned is that these are rental carts. This is not, a situation where the cart is barely 200 pounds. These carts are heavy, and that does lend itself to being a slightly more approachable in racing in the wet because of that weight really pushing into the track, just giving slightly more grip. However, it looks like that grip did not help the driver into turn 8. So easy to spin there, as these guys are really trying to find the limits in a very, very short amount of time ahead of our race.
And I want to point out just how long that slide lasted for too, because if
Yeah.
you haven't looked into the mechanics of how these carts work before, these rear, these rear wheels are actually connected to each other through a solid axle. So there's little to nothing from any component of these vehicles that are helping these drivers stay on the track today. You
Hmm.
could feel like you have grip leading into a corner, and after the apex, as the 21 cart demonstrated there, you can be full lock in the opposite direction coming out of that corner too. There are so many different situations that you can be thrown into. Understeering in, oversteering out, drivers losing grip left and right. There are so many factors that go into a race like this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And even in the last race that we saw, a slight bump can send you right off of that safe line, essentially, and right into a spin. The slightest bit of contact, and that it can result in a spin, even at low speeds in that technical section. As we are now entering the dying moments of qualifying, around 30 seconds left of the session, so this is many drivers' last chance in qualifying. Our current leaders in the pro class is Antonio with a 131.5. In the heavy class, Alex Roberts setting the pace with a 136.4. And then down in the pro class, again, Emerson just behind Antonio with a 132.8. And our leader in the light class is Nico with a 132.8.
Sounds like we have some very competitive drivers out here considering the conditions here. Those are still some very serious times to be reckoned with. These drivers have been here for a very long time, and they have a lot of experience learning not just the corners, but the individual little things that make this track unique. Every track
Absolutely.
has something that gives it character, little things that only the veterans know that you've just learned through pure seat time. There are
Absolutely.
multiple dips, there are bumps, there are chips in the curbs. There are so many little things that can either ruin your race or be taken advantage of to give you that slight extra edge over the driver ahead of you. And it's so important to pay attention to that as you grow as a racer here at Orlando Kart Center.
Absolutely, and it looks like qualifying has now come to an end. Your pole sitter in the pro class is Antonio with a 131.5. Your pole sitter in the heavy class is Alex Roberts with a 131.7. In the light class, Nico set a 132.7.
All right, and as we're coming into the end of the qualifying here, we're watching all the karts are coming into the grid section now, waiting for the track marshals to let them know where they finished, where they will be starting the grid, and how this race will begin.
Absolutely, we're going to see
Looking up
them.
at the sky, looking up at the sky now, we're seeing quite a bit of rain coming down. It's still relatively light, all things considered. It's definitely not pouring conditions by any means just yet. We're hoping it's going to stay this way for the end of the race, or preferably dry would be great. But this is definitely going to be an interesting race when it comes to managing these conditions here.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was actually a good thing to point out. With that rain still falling, that is just something to keep an eye on. Because, I mean, for multiple reasons, of course, but there's no dry line truly forming. I mean, there's a slight dry line that is formed just from these guys turning laps, but all that progress, again, just getting washed away in between sessions. As qualifying has ended, no one's out there setting laps to keep the water off of the dry line. We're going to see possibly a little bit of carnage, at least on lap one, extra more so because of these conditions.
Standing over here by the track, I can see a slight wet line forming on the outside of the initial dry line that drivers would be taking. Unfortunately, technical difficulties.
No, you're good.
So there are a lot of opportunities here for drivers to be paying attention to the pavement in order to gain some extra time here. There's a lot of puddles that are spread out throughout the corners at the moment, but these drivers are pushing the water out of the way depending on the lines that they're taking.
Yeah.
So as drivers go over those sections of the track, it is going to be very important for them to look at where the reflections are on the road, where the rubber is to avoid, and where the dry line is for them to be able to follow next to the rubber in order to get the maximum grip out of these carts today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just amazing that it's not raining that hard. It's just almost sprinkling, but it's been doing that since we've gotten here, essentially.
The rain has definitely been sporadic tonight, Stuart. I'm looking
Yeah.
at the sky now, literally 30 seconds later, and it's already starting to clear up a little compared to when I showed. So
Yeah.
it is going to be very, very sporadic. It is a very Florida night out tonight, as I would call it. So.
Yes, it is an absolutely awesome. We definitely do not want a repeat of that. Oh my goodness. Austin was saying in the chat, recalling, I believe it was last season when it was just a complete washout. Water all the way up to your ankles, just completely washing out the circuit. We've been in a couple of races like that, where it was just an absolute swamp. But that is just as a result of where we are, Florida. Goodness gracious, we all know how it is.
And this really goes to show why so many drivers trust Orlando Kart Center as a proving ground, because there's so many different technical corners throughout this track that the conditions can completely change in an instant. There's so many different conditions. There's so many different factors that go into what actually builds these races out here. So with so many drivers on track and still quite a bit of moisture sitting on the street, there's a lot of opportunities for drivers to take advantage of, and there's a lot of opportunities to entirely throw their race out right from the beginning. So it's going to be interesting to see how much risk these drivers are willing to take going through these first few laps, because there's a lot to gain here at the beginning, but there's also a lot to lose. So it's going to be interesting to see the different strategies at hand when it comes to the race here tonight.
Yep. Yeah, like last race, recalling Ethan setting fantastic pace, however, still just catching an unlucky stray at the start of the race and losing so many positions so early on.
And we have our heavyweight pole sitter Alex Roberts lining up at the grid currently. We're still sending out each individual cart to get into their proper grid positions. Once everyone has been situated in their proper positions, we're going to be good to go, and we will wave the green flag.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. It looks like around, what is that? Maybe a third of our drivers have lined up so far?
Looks like our this might still be our heavyweight class leading into our lightweight classes coming up to the grid now.
Perfect.
There are a ton of carts on track. And speaking from experience, if you guys didn't get to see the 12-hour endurance race in 2025, there were 61 chassis on track at the same time. And I will tell you from personal experience, that is stressful.
Yeah.
And it was dry outside. This is not dry. So these carts, or these drivers, have quite a bit to manage here in order to be able to get the maximum speed out of the situations that they're put into here.
And absolutely. And with this being technically a multi-class race with those pro karts out there, as we were talking about, this is not the extended turn 10 straightaway. This is the, I guess, normal layout of OKC. So of course that's good to keep speeds a little bit down with it being wet. However, that means all these carts are going to be pretty close together, especially at the start. And if a pro kart maybe gets bounced out of position, you're going to have less chances to use that extra power to get past the other rental carts.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, Stuart, because coming here through turns 8 and 9, this is a very popular spot to try to catch other drivers off guard and make some huge opportunities happen when it comes to overtakes. And a lot of the defense that you would be able to do is actually on this back straight here. So with a shortened back straight section, it is going to be very interesting to see how drivers react to the moves of attacks made on them or to other drivers, and how they're going to react to it with less time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know. There's almost a little bit of a balancing act going for a move into that kink of 8 and 9 ahead of turn 10, because if you go for a move and it doesn't work, you still disrupt the momentum of the driver in front, and with there being less of a straightaway, could be a strategy. We could see some. Saw a bunch of moves done into that last race. But then again, the racing is so close. You could end up in a spin so easily.
That is a really good point, Stuart. So through turns 8 and 9, those are so crucial, as I mentioned before, because you're setting yourself up for that straightaway. And with a shortened straightaway here tonight, it's not going to be as impactful as it usually would be.
Mm-hmm.
But with the conditions of the rain, it also means that the braking zone is going to be set quite a bit further ahead than it usually would be. So as drivers are coming out through 8 and 9 onto this back straight, it is going to be very important for them to not only quickly decide how they are going to take this corner, but they're also going to need to pay attention to the drivers around them trying to make moves, knowing that this is a crucial section of the track with less time than usual to make those moves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Some maybe we could call it unorthodox positions to be able to be made up.
Absolutely. You never know what you're going to see out here at Orlando Kart Center. There's so many opportunities for overtakes, for mistakes, for proving grounds. Everything is at stake here for these drivers. And it is going to be interesting to see how they manage that stress, how they react to it, and how they manage the entirety of this race tonight with so many factors at hand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And now it looks like most of our grid, if not all of our grid, has been lined up. So we will be going green in just a couple of moments. But it looks like we have one or two more drivers still joining the grid. However, that looks to be most of them.
And as the final kart reaches the grid here tonight, we are starting the Heat 2 race here at Orlando Kart Center for our league night tonight. As mentioned before, my name is Cam. My co-host Stuart is here with me on the commentary. We are here representing Panthera Collective with Orlando Kart Center to cover this league night for you guys tonight.
Absolutely. Let's get this show on the road as live. See what happens.
Hello?
I got you. I got you. Looks like the connection went a little bit weird for a moment, but I got you.
Okay.
Part of the charm, eh?
Yeah. We like to keep it interesting here at Orlando Kart Center. We're never going to keep it. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, it's good. Rather get out those let's call them technical funnies before the race actually starts, which looks to be in just a couple of moments.
Absolutely. And as these kart drivers are waiting for the green flag to be waved, we're watching the skies carefully, trying to make sure that no rain is coming down. And it looks like it has stopped for the moment. So it's going to be interesting to see if that picks back up during the race here tonight or if, during any of the other races we have coming up later. It is definitely going to be changing the track, whether it rains or not throughout the night.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it almost speeds up the drying process of the track with there being so many carts out there displacing water from the track offline and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And one thing to remember too is that these puddles are actually moving from the tires. They're not specifically getting blown off of the track, but they will actually move to different sections of the corner depending on how these carts are hitting the pavement throughout the track. So it's very important for the drivers to be watching the pavement at all times, watching the drivers around them, and acting accordingly in order to maximize grip throughout these technical sections.
Absolutely. And it looks like someone coming out of the pits there may have had an issue with their cart in qualifying, grabbed a new cart ahead of this heat race for Group B.
And as we're waiting for that final kart to reach the grid, let's take a look at the actual track conditions right now. So we have quite a few puddles forming on the track from previously. We do have, you can see a bit of a dry section in the center of the track coming through turn, is this turn 6?
Turn 7.
This is turn 7, okay.
You're good.
So this section here is slightly lighter on camera. It's kind of hard to see through the camera right now, but there's actually little to no water on that section of the track there.
Well, that's
kind
a
of towards
clean
the
line.
shed. So
that is a clean line.
there is quite a big opportunity here, especially for those pro karts to maximize their grip with the worse tires and more torque than the regular rental karts. So
I see
How's it
green
going, man?
lights. How is the grid looking? I see green.
So as the pro carts are coming through Heat 2 underway here, we're having some pretty clean racing. Everyone is definitely on each other's toes coming through the first sections of the track here. It is going to be very interesting to see what kind of opportunities drivers are going to look for and how much risk they're willing to take through this lap one, because there is so much to be gained and so much to be lost.
Look at them using that dry line that we just pointed out. Trying to keep it mostly clean, at least on lap one. We will see as the large amount of carts comes barreling through. Slight side-by-side action there with Alex. Again, all these differing lines, differing overtaking spots that you would never see in the dry as all these guys come tumbling towards us. 4 wide almost into turn 7, coming into 9, or into the 8-9 complex. We do have one unfortunate spin as it is now under yellow, getting back right underway. Looks to be mostly okay, honestly. Not too many issues for our drivers.
Absolutely. So there is a lot of different factors going into this race here tonight, as we keep mentioning, a lot of which is going to be coming from these battles here through such technical sections with the track working against them. Drivers are taking every opportunity they can get with the grip they can work with, which isn't many. They're going to need to take anything they can get here without, while still mitigating the amount of risk they're putting themselves in order to get the best possible lap times without spinning, as we've
3
just
wide.
seen here into the center section.
I just saw multiple groups going at least 3 wide at the exit of turn 13, going all the way down to turn 1. That was some amazing racing there.
People are getting very aggressive into these corners, Stuart. You're absolutely right. It's going to be interesting to see if they can manage that pace and if they're going to be able to hold the grip that they're looking for here. You can see drivers hugging the absolute outside of turn 7, just trying to get anything they can. The closer you get to that rubber line, the more counter steer you're going to have to show the cart in order to keep it there, because there's just simply no grip with these regular dry slicks in these conditions.
Absolutely. And you know what? Speaking of these different carts, actually, the pro leader, Liam, now has a 1.5 second gap over second place. Our light leader has less than half of a second in between them and P2. And Alex Roberts in the heavy class has around a 3 to 4 second gap over P2 in the heavy class. So we already have a little bit of an order starting to form. However, very, very close racing, especially in the light class. And the pro class still just separated by less than 2 seconds.
And going across the line over here, we have carts peaking every left and right way that they possibly can. I saw someone almost go 4 wide there yet again.
Goodness
Everyone
gracious.
is taking every opportunity they can here, hopping the curbs, switchbacks through chicanes. Everywhere I'm looking on track right now, every
Ooh.
driver is trying to take an opportunity here to get any position they can.
Goodness, and as we just saw, it is so easy to lose it at the exit of turn 13. There is so much water splashed all over the place at the all-important exit where you're trying to get power down as early as you can back onto the start-finish straight.
So with the magic of cameras here, if you look next to that green light in the center of your screen now, you can see just how reflective the pavement is coming through that section there, not just on the apex, but on the pavement itself as well. It is something the drivers are going to have to pay very close attention to, as that corner is already off camber as is, which is going to lose them even more grip than they usually would going through that section.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is actually fantastic because we get to see so much of the track actually from where you are. We get to see 8 and 9, we get to see the turn 10 straight, and we also get to see everyone trying to make moves down into turn 13.
Absolutely. It's a lot of action happening from this spot here at Orlando Kart Center with our league night tonight.
It looks like most of everyone is pretty well staying in line, just trying to survive. Of course, we saw a lot of action in the first couple of laps. However, those 3 wide situations will already die down a bit as these gaps have started to form, with different people taking different lines and not trying to trip over each other.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, Stuart, because no matter how much experience you have going into a race like this, absolutely soaked across the track, it is so important to treat these first few laps as a training ground to kind of understand what these conditions are going to be like, how the track is going to respond to your driving style, and how to adjust that accordingly. There are tons of drivers going off through this section here.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, because it's not even just a practice session or training session, excuse me, for this race, but for all the rest of the racing that you're going to be doing tonight. You have two more races at least after this one. So even if you aren't that high up in the order in this race, you still have two more races that you need to be thinking about.
Absolutely. And with the amount of laps and the amount of carts that are running in between these heats, a driver may have their means through a certain section, kind of understand where the grip is, where it isn't. And by the time they go back out on track, that could have completely changed. So it is very important to pay attention to that, because with close to 100 drivers here, possibly over 100 drivers racing here tonight, there are going to be hundreds and hundreds of laps worth of rubber being laid down through these corners that are changing the amount of grip, the amount of rubber, the amount of water. There are so many things that are affected by the drivers here tonight.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it looks like we're at least into the latter half of this race. I see around 3 minutes left on the timing screen. We will see if they abide by that, as now rain looks to really be coming. Look at the light in the top right of your feed. Look how much rain is coming down.
It is definitely picking up again here, Stuart. We're getting quite a bit of rain coming in through the front section of this track over by the pits. I can't speak for the back section, but it definitely looks like all the drivers are starting to feel it. I'm seeing quite a few more spins here where some people may have been gaining some confidence on that dry line. They're now losing that confidence from the water that is starting to settle back on those lines.
It's funny they mentioned confidence. You can do one thing one lap, and then it rains slightly more, and then that same thing that you did that gained you a couple of seconds of time, now it's causing you to spin. As the track changes, you cannot do the same thing lap by lap. You always have to be adapting and changing your style to what the track is asking you to do.
You're absolutely right, Stuart. And this is actually one of my personal favorite types of racing for that reason. It is a true test of the driver's skill, the true test of the driver's reaction times. Everything you can do to prepare yourself will never be enough for a rain race. You are always put to the test in the moment, and there's nothing that will make it easier for you. So it is very interesting to see how drivers react to conditions like this, and how they are able to manage it. As you can see, we're even getting some bump drafting here through turn 7 onto the dry line at that. The drivers are taking absolutely every single opportunity they can with the final laps of the race starting to close in here.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny that tonight is the rain race. It's also when we're covering it. I want to be out there driving, man. This looks like so much fun.
I know, man. I'm jealous of these guys right now. They're having a great time. I know Alex is having a blast. I just spoke with Ethan a little bit earlier, and he said he had a great time as well. He was a little frustrated from his spin at the beginning of the first heat, but overall in good spirits, so you love to see it.
Oh, it's still a great performance. And speaking of our different drivers, let's go down the order really quick. In first place of the Pro Class, Liam, still setting the pace, now with around a 12-second gap to P2 in the Pro Class. Down in the Light Class, Nico, now with still less than a second of a gap. Goodness gracious, for the lead between the light classes. And then in heavy, Alex Roberts still with the lead with a substantial gap over P2 in the heavy class.
All right, and as we come into turns 8 and 9 here, getting...
Oh no, looks like that we may have lost Cam. Oh, wait.
Are we back?
Yeah, kind of, honestly, man. The connection's really not that great here. It's fine up there, but it's slightly too far.
I'm watching the quality right now as I move back here. I apologize for the technical difficulties, everybody.
Hey, no, we're getting it figured out. It's all right.
Should I turn your VPN off? Do you think that would help?
Actually, it's really funny you mentioned that. My VPN, I'm sorry for the technical jargon, everybody. It's not actually a VPN. It's a private thing that I have set up to be able to connect to my computer wirelessly. So it's not actually a VPN, but it's called a VPN. So it's not affecting bandwidth, or at least it shouldn't. It's kind of its own weird little network thing. It's pretty cool.
Interesting. Little behind the scenes here with Stuart and Cam showing how we set all this up. There's quite a bit that goes into these live streams, guys. So we hope that you're enjoying watching tonight. We worked very hard to get this all working correctly. So things are going very well for the second heat as the drivers come into the pits now. We have all of our other drivers waiting and ready to go, about to start the next heat. So we're very excited here. It's going to be a great night full of very intense racing with a lot of unpredictable conditions here.
Now, speaking of the unpredictability, Liam indeed did end up winning the pro class. However, there was a change of position big time in the light class as Nico ended up dropping down to P3 in class, and Camilo ended up being your winner of Heat 1 for Group B in the light class, as Alex Roberts still maintained his position of P1 in the heavy class.
It is truly amazing to see just how hard these drivers have to work in order to maintain their positions in these conditions. There's so many factors. We cannot stress this enough that go into making this happen and making a proper finish out of it as well. Being able to maintain your position in itself is a skill, let alone being able to overtake someone in such an unpredictable setting.
Absolutely. Now, Cam, in between rounds here, I'm going to take 5 really quick. Is that all right? Do you got this?
Yep, you're all good.
All right, I'll be right back.
All right, guys, and as Heat 2 comes back inside from their final lap of the race, all of the different classes are sorting themselves out into the pits here, getting lined back up so Heat 3 can get prepared and ready to go back out. Already some very intense racing coming from all of these drivers. And as we mentioned before, this is 100% a proving ground. This is an opportunity for them to grow into these super leagues and gain some better opportunities. Orlando Kart Center has recently paired up with Skip Barber Racing School in order to offer plenty of opportunities for drivers to be able to excel, be able to get their licenses, and be able to grow in order to get the best possible opportunities and grow. Let's see here. I apologize about that. There are so many opportunities to grow as a driver here at Orlando Kart Center, whether it's through their scholarship programs of Skip Barber, whether it's through winning league nights like this. There are so many ways to get noticed. There are so many people who come out here who are even veterans of the sport. We've had drivers from IMSA, drivers from the World Endurance Championship. We've gotten to race against quite a few big names in the scene down here at Orlando Kart Center. So it is a very highly respected track from pretty much everywhere in the group. Alex, how was your race?
I got overall pole for the rental cards, but other than that, I can't really say too much. It was pretty boring. Finished 4th overall, first in heavy class. So we'll take it.
Absolutely. You qualified P1. You were able to maintain that position through the end of the race. How hard was that for you?
I didn't even know I was P1 in class when I qualified, and then I see the thing, and my number was the first one called up for the rental cards. I was like, oh, normal drive for me.
All right. Well, great job out there. We'll see you soon. P1. All right, guys, and we have Heat 3 coming back out onto the pits now. Everyone is fully suited up and ready to go. We are nonstop racing here tonight at Orlando Kart Center. Again, my name is Camden. I'm with Panthera Collective here covering the league night for you guys tonight with Orlando Kart Center. It is an honor and privilege to be able to work with them. As you can see, if you guys have never raced here before at Orlando Kart Center, these weird boxes that everyone is carrying are actually weights. So there is a minimum weight that everyone has to meet regardless of driver. So there are little slots in each of these carts that allow drivers to meet that minimum weight requirement depending on what their weight is as a driver. So it is very important that we keep the competition as balanced as possible here, allow people's skills to really shine through, and try to remove any limiting factors that might be in the way that could stop a driver from performing their best.
Hello, I am back. How's everything going?
That was great timing, actually. We had a little chat with Alex Roberts after his win in the heavyweight class in the Heat 2 section. I apologize if you couldn't hear him too well. He said he actually didn't realize how well he did initially and was very excited about being able to see a first place finish coming out of Heat 2 here.
Oh, that is hilarious. Yeah, because he was running really close to a bunch of other carts. However, they were all in a different class. He was fighting with people he really didn't even have to.
Absolutely. And there's so many different drivers from different backgrounds, different levels of experience. There's so many things going on here that go into making a driver into who they are at these races. We can see car racing helmets, professional karting helmets, motorcycle helmets, people in suits, people in t-shirts. We have all different walks of life out here racing. So it is very, very interesting to see how everyone is able to be brought together by this event and get to share such an incredible competitive race.
Absolutely.
On a night like
Absolutely. And you know what? Actually, this is actually kind of, you don't even think about it. It's one of the biggest differences between sim racing and real life racing, which this is that you don't know exactly how long is left in your race. You don't know how.
There's a lot of information going to these drivers as they go around.
Yeah.
So it is very important to treat every single lap like your last in order to make this right. There's so much on the line here for these drivers to get into the Super League, for Skip Harper leagues. There's so many opportunities lined up for these drivers that was graciously provided by Orlando Kart Center, and all of them want it. Every single one of them is out here to win, and it's going to be exciting to see just how strategies vary leading into this.
Absolutely. I'm starting to hear a couple of engines spring to life. Is anyone leaving the pits yet, or what's going on down there, good sir?
We have the first carts leaving the pits into Heat 3. We are sending out the pro carts currently. We have about 3 or 4 carts on track at the moment. Having some slight difficulty starting one of the pro carts, unfortunately, so there are a bit of a delay at the moment. It is going to be interesting to see if any other technical difficulties with these carts arrive throughout the end of the night.
You know, it's actually interesting that you say that, because normally we don't really have any issues getting the cart started. I guarantee you it's because of the weather, the water getting into all these motors, making it more difficult to get started, keep the RPMs up, all of those factors coming into play.
Absolutely. And as the final pro kart enters the track, we have the new section as I'm jumping over the pit wall to get out of these guys' ways. There are so many carts entering the track right now. There goes Ethan Foles, who we spoke with earlier. He is definitely going to be out for redemption this race. He had a very early spin. If you guys missed it before, was unfortunately spun into turn 9 into the barrier right on the first lap. So it is going to be very interesting to see how these drivers react to it.
Absolutely. And you know what? You actually mentioning that almost revenge. Ethan now knows, of course, there's always inherent risk on lap 1, but how easy it is with these conditions to just lose all of those spots. Everyone now infinitely more knowledgeable about how the track is driving tonight after the first race. So we'll see if that creates more confident drivers, more, I'm going to say, exciting moments, or more calm moments of people trying to stay under the limit and maintain whatever position they can.
Absolutely, Stuart. And as we move back to the track viewing area, once again, it is going to be interesting to see not just the strategies in the race, but also the strategies of qualifying as well. Some drivers like to put a lot of pressure on the other drivers in order to get them away from setting an optimal lap time. Some drivers are just naturally better in the rain than others, and the ones who know that aren't quite as capable in the rain are going to try to do everything in their power to still finish at the top of the grid on that qualifying. So it is going to be very interesting to see what kind of strategies they take, if they're going to try to separate themselves from the rest of the grid in order to get some clean air and set a good lap time, or if they're going to focus on slowing down the other carts.
There's no qualifying. I forgot there's no qualifying because it's just it's the order from the last race.
Oh,
so we're jumping right into the race.
Cool. Well, you guys are going to get action a little bit earlier than
we thought then.
It's going to be great.
Also, yes, LVP, it's a very wet track. It has been raining all evening. We have had some very, very exciting moments, and we are sure to have some more exciting moments heading into Heat 2 of Group A.
Absolutely. And if you guys have any questions for us, anything you'd like to know about the race, if there's any technical difficulties happening with our live stream, please feel free to let us know in the chat. Stuart is upstairs above the pits right now monitoring everything for us. I am Cam, boots on the ground with the camera today. It is a 2-man team here, and we're making it happen. So we're excited to bring this to you guys tonight. and things are going smoothly so far. We'd like to keep it that way. So we hope you guys are enjoying so far, and
Absolutely.
we're going to do everything in our power to make that happen. So
Absolutely. Yeah, things have been going fantastic, not only for us, but for these drivers for the most part. It's been fantastic racing. Remember, if you recall last heat, in heat one, I guess, of Group B, there were multiple moments of people going 3-4 carts wide and not too many issues. As it looks
you're
like we are
absolutely
green and
right, Stuart.
underway. Yes, yeah, carts are underway. It looks like the pro carts have gotten down past turn 1, A-OK, now coming into the turns 5 and 6 complex. Do you see anything going wrong? I think everything, for the most part, is going all right for all of our drivers.
Everyone through the exit has chosen to follow single file through the line. No one is taking any risks at this point in the race. I say as someone goes around the outside for the battle of P2, we have a very close battle for the first 4 carts of the race here. They're absolutely pushing. I take back everything I said in the first corner. They're
Look at the gaps.
absolutely pushing as hard as they can. We
Wow.
have huge tails of water coming off of the back of these tires here. You can see how those dry slicks really are working against our drivers here tonight. There's so much at hand that they have to be able to manage. I see the driver with the blue fire suit over there already has his entire visor fogged up. So it is going to be very interesting to see how different conditions affect different drivers throughout this
3
race.
wide coming into turns 8 and 9. Wow for these rental carts. That is some fantastic racing.
We've got multiple spins coming into turn 8 already. This is going to be a very interesting race.
Oh, no.
And the third spin into turn 8.
Goodness, just got
There are a lot
caught
of
out by
drivers
someone
out
spinning
here.
ahead.
There are a lot of drivers out here, and it is so easy to get caught in someone else's mistake that you have to be absolutely on a knife edge at all times, and these first few laps especially.
Yes, you do, especially if you're starting a little bit further down the order. You just have to pay attention to so much going on ahead of you. At any moment, someone could just lose it, and at risk of losing yourself with those incidents. Okay, the connection's going in slightly in and out. Is there any way that you can come slightly back towards us? That would be awesome. Nice. I don't know how it already looks so much better, but it does. Trust me. As we are now
Cool,
fully
I'll take it.
underway of Heat 2 for Group A.
All right, and as our leader comes back around for lap 2, he is already putting a significant lead on the rest of the pack here, taking a very conservative line, staying right on the racing line. And we have P2 spinning into turn 8 here. We have a huge incident happening. Everyone is trying to manage as quickly as they can. Driver trying to move out of the way as quickly as possible here as Ethan Fultz goes on the inside into turn 8, making a double overtake into turn 9, goes for a triple on the outside as someone passes. So there's a spin through turn 9 as well. There's so much to cover here.
Goodness gracious, that sees Ethan actually go up into the lead of the light class. Carson now in the lead of the pros, as I believe that was Jachin who was in second place at the time of that spin. You will see who has lost out in that pro class. Some insanely close racing. And everyone, as you mentioned, on a knife edge because of these conditions and running so close to so many carts out on track.
Really, the most important thing we can stress here is just how little you could do to prepare yourself for a race like this. There are so many factors that are playing at all times for these drivers that are changing periodically. They're changing between laps, they're changing between races, and they're changing between corners. So it is very interesting to see how these drivers react to it and how they're able to manage with the strategies that they've brought to the table. Everyone is going to have a different way of managing that, and it is going to make a huge difference in the positions they finish in this race.
Absolutely. And speaking of these drivers' positions, you have to keep in mind that for Heat 2, for all of our Heat 2s, is that it is a reverse grid order for around the top 10 or so finishers, depending on what class you're in. So, who finished first place? Elias started a little bit down the order in the pros. However, Elias has already set the fast lap of the race and is now closing into P1. And Ethan,
Here we're putting on a
we're
putting a focus on just how little grip there is coming out of turn 8 into turn 9 here. So many carts are trying to push their absolute limit to get a good intake pass into turn 9. And it is so crucial to set yourself up correctly for that, to get onto that back straight, because it could be a complete change of pace for you leading into that section, depending on how your turn 9 goes.
Absolutely. People are still going side by side into the second section, spins all over the place, drivers going left, right, everywhere, trying to avoid each other and try and get through this track as efficiently as possible.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Stuart. I kind of wish I was out there right now. This looks really interesting.
Oh,
There's
I do
a lot
too.
of things happening right now, and it's very, very interesting to see the balance between overdriving the cart and being able to manage a proper strategy at the same time. It is very
Yeah.
important that drivers don't treat this track how they usually would, because there just simply is not the same level of grip throughout every single corner at the moment. So being able to adjust your driving style, adjust your strategies, and adjust your throttle and steering inputs is crucial in order to get a consistent and fast lap time in these conditions.
Absolutely. No, this looks like a dream of a just fantastic night of racing. And it's still a fantastic show for us to be able to watch and be able to spectate and give some a little bit of insight on.
I'm having a blast just watching this. I'm seeing Ethan full lock through turn 8, counter steering, full slide to that outside rain line and maintaining all of his speed. So as we mentioned before, these karts actually have a rear axle design. So the rear tires are not able to spin independently from each other. If one of your tires on these dry slicks gets caught by one of the puddles, you are going to lose grip in the entirety of the rear section of that kart. So it is very important for you to be able to react quickly. And sometimes, actually majority of the time, especially in these conditions, sliding may actually be quicker for a midsection corner. If you're trying to maintain a very grippy line like you would on a dry circuit in these karts, you're actually going to cost yourself minimum speed in the midsection of your apex. So overall, your corner is going to end up slower, even though you have more grip. So it is very important for these drivers to push to that limit of grip and allow it to go just over a little bit to maintain that speed through the midsections and still be able to maintain the lines that they're aiming for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Looks like we only have around 2 minutes left in this race. We'll see if anyone tries to go for some last minute moves. However, it still looks like Carson in the lead of the pro class, Ethan in the lead of the light class, and in the heavy class, Brian is your current leader with a substantial gap all the way around. It looks like our leaders have, in all of our classes, have a pretty good gap to P2.
You're absolutely right, Stuart. The grid is pretty spread out across the track now. It shows how much strategies, incidents, and small minor corrections can make a massive difference over the span of the race. There are so many karts side by side throughout every single corner of this track at the same time. Anything can happen at any point, and you could be prepared for your next section. The next section might not be prepared for you. There's so much happening here that a kart could come flying left and right. You really never know what's going to happen in conditions like these.
Absolutely. Very well said. Absolutely. You just never know.
As we're coming into the final laps of Heat 3 here, we're seeing quite a bit of tails coming off of the tires in turn 7 here. It shows the rain is definitely settling back onto track. That dry section we showed on the outside of 7 before, I can see from further away is already pretty wet. The amount of water on the track is building up very aggressively for these drivers. It is going to be interesting to see how they adjust to these changing conditions.
Absolutely. No, this race, the circuit looks infinitely worse than it did even at the start of this session. These people are losing it in places that they never would have. Look at the rain. I mean, I mentioned it earlier, but if you check out the light just above turn 7, look at the rain just storming down. Look at that. That is incredible.
We are facing some serious conditions here at Orlando Kart Center. And if you look at this back section of turn 7 here, you can see just how much water is built up where we showed right before this race. We're still seeing multiple spins across the track. One spin into turn 8, one spin in front of the flag. Multiple different types of lines being taken through turn 7 as well.
Absolutely. And now it looks like that this Heat 2 race is coming to a close. I see zeros on the board for timing. You will see if they get any extra time out on track. However, your gaps for all of our leaders are still the same. Carson in pro, Ethan in light. and Brian and Heavy are still your leaders.
And as we predicted before, Ethan.
Flags out, yellow flags out, red flags out. And that is the end of our Heat 2 race. And we have you back on the feed. Sorry, drop there for a second. Have you back as you're now entering the pits.
Your phone just hit low battery, so we may need to switch camera inputs here in a minute.
Perfect. Yeah. You know what? If you want to make your way back up here, we can connect my headset to your phone and then just swap it that way.
Okay.
All right, let's do that. Since again, that is the end of Heat 2. We have a couple of minutes in between sessions. We're going to swap out cameras. So we are ready to go for Heat 2 of Group B. Have a little bit of live action here. A little production, fun stuff here. Damn, your phone has been charging
We are
this whole
getting
time.
our steps in here.
Yeah, we are. You have 100% on your phone. All right.
And a little
So,
behind the scenes here,
hi.
we're saying hi to Stuart real quick.
So if I could see my phone. Hi guys. Yeah. Okay, here, I'm going to do this. Goodbye. And then, oh, there's Discord. I will go ahead and open this up in the meantime. Let me go ahead and turn off Bluetooth from here. Now, I think that I'm going to have to sign in with my Bluetooth account onto your phone, or onto your laptop. Excuse me. Let me go ahead and get this up. We need this going in the meantime. Video capture, add source. Bam, does work. That was absolutely awesome. There we go. Oh, there's already camera built in. My bad. I'm not used to that.
You're good. Which one's higher quality?
Oh, wow, that's very nice. I feel like I'm in a Zoom meeting now. Okay, let me go ahead and get signed on. Hi. Okay, whatever. That works. Don't worry. This will just be like this for a second. Let me go back into Discord. I'm going to log out from here. And then I'm going to sign in with my Discord account. All right. My headset should already be in pairing mode, I believe. Which thing? Start talking. All right, let's go. Let's go ahead and call.
Apologies to everyone watching this with us. We're just switching inputs for the next race. We will
Bam.
have our coverage back up in just a minute.
Yep. Okay. Okay, you're good. Is this thing working?
How do I put it in pairing mode?
Let me see. Oh, it is. Here, can I see your phone? You. There we go. Okay. Good, good.
Mic check, mic check.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm now going to deactivate this. I know, I just look so awesome right now. There we go, gone. Okay, if you can start video streaming, let's see if that works. Yep.
All right, let's see here.
Okay. I think that we're good. Yeah, we're good.
Awesome.
Got our little pit stop, didn't we? Awesome.
So, if you guys are familiar with us, I'm Cam. This is Stuart. We're here with Panthera Collective covering the Orlando Kart Center League Night here tonight. We're very excited to be here. It is an honor and a privilege to be able to cover this event. We've had some very interesting racing coming out of this already. We've seen some familiar faces. Alex Roberts finishing first place in the heavyweight class. As we go into this next section of the race, we will see him coming back out in the reverse grid order, seeing if he can maintain a top level position.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, we have much more great racing to get to. Could you double check that as well? Could you like talk louder to them?
Mic check, mic check.
We're good.
Okay.
Okay, sweet.
Okay, we are good to go.
That was
I'm
very
gonna bring
efficient.
you guys. Yeah, that was a official pit stop of Orlando Kart Center right there. That's Just a quick camera change real quick. There is quite a bit of energy happening here down in the bottom of the track. It looks like the stream is at 2 different points on the TVs downstairs. Could you please check on the bitrate real quick, Stuart?
Sure. Let me make this good again. Bam. I'm having no issues up here. Everything looks good. Yeah,
Beautiful.
everything looks good.
All right, and as our drivers are preparing to go out into Heat 2 for Group B, we're very excited. What's that? Awesome, man. Great job. Little comment from Ethan, very excited about his P1 finish in the reverse grid order, able to prove himself after a very frustrating start to the race.
Absolutely, yeah. That was a fantastic performance there by Ethan. As now our Heat 2 drivers for Group B are headed out onto track. So again, we're going to see that reverse grid. Our winners from the last session for this group are going to be starting a bit further down the order. So we're going to have some faster drivers possibly down a little bit further than they would expect to be. As we saw in the last race, that led to, some of our drivers had to make their way up through the pack. So we'll see how that plays out for Group B. Looks like our last batch of drivers are going to be leaving the pits here in just a moment. And here I actually have a professional interview about to be done with one Ethan Full. So wow, we have our little conversation corner ready to go. Let me get this. Yes, this is our Heat 2 winner for Group A. Thoughts, feelings, anything?
I give a shout out to my boy Dylan Donna, Garrett Voorhees, and Eugenio. They need to come out because it's way too easy to win these. Like, come on, y'all.
All right, well, that was a fantastic job. Yeah, we saw what happened in the first race. Your pace was still fantastic all throughout. And
I wish I could have done.
yeah. This looks to be getting started in just a couple of moments. Thank you for coming up and chatting. Thoughts ahead of your final? Anything?
On what?
On your final, ahead of your final.
Bro, I'm hoping I can take the pole for the final. So, win. I have a second place, a third place trophy. I'm trying to get that first place, bring it home. Pop some champagne.
Yes, sir. Hey, well, we look to
And
be...
Ethan,
Yeah. Cam, what's up?
what would it mean to you to get an opportunity into the Super League here if you finish in the top 20 in this league here?
Yes. Okay. Cam was wondering your thoughts on Super League, transitioning from Pro League into Super League, depending on how this championship goes.
I just came out for the weekend because I thought all my friends were going to be here. But then it's only you and Cam and Alex, but he's in the other heat. So, I mean, I don't know. It's fun. Like, it definitely gives us a more chance than, like, the old league a couple years ago where it was, like, 2 rounds in one night in the 30-minute races. I like this format more because it gives you a better opportunity to recover. Because, like, in my first race, I got cooked, I started on pole. I don't know how much. I wish I could have seen. But, and then a pro kart spun in front of me at turn 9, and I just got taken out, and my kart got stuck on the apex there. So I started from the very back. I was able to recover to apparently second, but I got penalties for passing under yellow. I'm pretty sure it's because someone spun in front of me because they got scared and locked the brakes, and then I passed them. So it's, you win some, you lose some. That's just racing in general. But honestly, it's a great format. I love the little trophies we get now, and honestly, popping champagne.
Also, thank you for coming to chat with us. It looks like that we're going to be going green in just a couple of seconds. Fantastic job, and hopefully you and Alex will be together in the A final. Yeah? Heavy. B1. Yeah. All right, thank you again. Thank you. And Cam, how are things looking down there? It looks to be the pits.
Oh, yeah, and I needed the rain.
All right. We had some technical difficulties coming out of the pits here, a couple small issues with the carts, but everyone looks to be good to go heading towards the grid now. Everyone is getting into their proper positions to start this race. We will be under the green flag in just a few minutes here. There's a lot of opportunities to gain some points in the championship, a lot of opportunities to prove themselves. It is going to be very, very interesting to watch.
Fantastic. And yeah, we were just able to talk to Ethan, and it was actually funny that he mentioned that. Because when we talked about our other Super League, to be able to get into the Super League, you have to have very consistent results and compete in the championship throughout all of the rounds, essentially. And just because of, a matter of, life circumstance, all that stuff, he's not competing in that league, but he's still out here doing his fantastic job in the Pro League. So you really never know who you're going to get racing here in the Pro League. All different ranges of skill, experience, all different walks of everything, just like we were talking about earlier.
That is a very good point, Stuart, and we definitely do. Even just the people that we know, Alex is actually based quite a bit of ways from here. Um, Ethan is actually in an active military member, so thank you
Yeah.
to Ethan for his service. We have quite a few walks of life coming out here, just trying to compete for a good time, just trying to come out and prove themselves. Some are going straight for that Skip Barber scholarship in the Super League. There's a lot of opportunities here depending on what the driver's intentions are with this league. It is going to be interesting to see how they treat it.
Absolutely. It looks like all of our drivers have gotten lined up easy peasy. However, the rain is still continuing to just rumble this track. Goodness gracious, it looks just as wet as when we started, if not even more wet.
There is definitely more water on the track than even the first heat. This might be the most wet we've seen the track all night tonight. It is going to be very interesting to watch how these guys going into their second heat of the night in the B class are able to manage the changing conditions.
That is incredible. That is absolutely incredible. Is it still like pouring like it was at the end of the last race?
So there's quite a bit of water coming through the sky. It's not picking up very well on the camera at the moment. It's not quite as severe as it was in the latter half of the last race we were able to watch. But if you look at the track here, it is very reflective and it is very dark on those dry rubber lines, which means that there is a lot of standing water on one of the fastest corners of the track here. Um, I don't want to put any bad juju in the air, to use the scientific terminology, but it is going to be more than likely we see a few spins through that corner leading into this race.
Absolutely. And especially with this being, a little bit more into the evening. Oh, wow, we are green. We are racing as the pro carts start to come around the exit of turn 6, now coming
And
down
look at
towards
the
us in turn
spray.
7. Yeah, oh my gosh, the
Tails coming off
spray.
these cars. There is so much water sitting on the track right now with entirely dry slicks. There is not a single groove in these tires with full solid axles, no suspension. There is nothing helping them right now.
Wow, that is absolutely incredible. And it's very nice that we have a little bit of a gap between the pro karts and then the rest of our field just because of the pace discrepancy, as it looks like we have a slow-moving pro kart, I believe, as the leaders from our light and heavy class come roaring past us down into turns 8 and 9. This will, just like the last race, be... Ooh, wow, we just had a little bit of an incident there into turn 8 and 9. It looks like everyone's all right. As we have someone changing their carts, it looks like we have around 8 minutes left in this race. Bit of a sprint race as people are still pushing the limits of this track as rain continues to fall.
You're absolutely right, Stuart. And there's still a very tight grid, not just at the front, but also in the rear. Alex Roberts, who finished first in his first heat in the B class in the heavyweight section, is going currently 3 wide onto this, heading towards the start-finish line here.
Wow, that is
There's
incredible.
a lot going on. There's a lot to prove.
Yeah, nice job to point out Alex, as he just went 3 wide at the exit of turn 13. Still our winner from the last heat, starting a bit further down the order, trying to make up as many positions as he can in this race.
We can see some of these drivers are starting to get pretty spread out from this section here. It is so easy to lose your ground on the drivers you are very close with very, very quickly through these technical sections, because having one slightly slower entry is going to allow them to slingshot through that opening and really put a gap on you that could just be 1 or 2 tenths in a dry setting, but could be upwards of over half a second leading into a rain race like this.
Absolutely, as Alex continues to try and push his way back up the field. Looks like everything is going relatively smoothly for all of our drivers, and indeed this weather has definitely gotten worse. These times, Cam, are multiple seconds off of just the last race. We are now seeing the top times of pros in the 132s, the top times in heavy and light in the 35s even. The track has gotten much slower as the night has progressed.
Absolutely. There's so many things that can happen here. We're only just beginning. in this second race here for Group B. A lot of drivers are having technical difficulties with their karts. A lot of drivers are dealing with the newly laid water on the track. Lots of yellow flags being waved in all sections right now. It is
Absolutely.
very, very important for these drivers to stay vigilant and very, very alert when it comes to going through these more technical sections.
Absolutely. You know, it's pretty sweet now that we have these yellow flag light systems where they just show depending on which section of the track is under yellow so the marshals can focus on helping the drivers as this loss of grip is affecting everyone. We had never seen a spin like that in any of the previous sessions, just losing the rear end heading into the slower section of 8 and 9.
You're absolutely right, Stuart. And we have 3 on the bump draft through turn 7 on the dry line, absolutely trying to hug any little bit of grip they can get, staying as far away from the puddles as possible. There is almost no space to plant that cart in between those 2 puddles on the inside and outside through turn 7.
Oh, so much for working together. Did you see how hard those guys were fighting, going too wide all the way around turn 7 into this little complex here? That was incredible.
Yep. And we're actually starting to see a dry line forming in between the 2 puddles on turn 7. Everyone is fighting for that middle section of the track right now, just desperately trying to stay away from those outside puddles and potentially pick up a couple extra tenths and a little extra speed into turn 8.
You know, and it's great that you mentioned that because the times have started to get faster and faster as this race has started on. We started seeing times in the 32s for the pros, 35s in the other karts. Now people are down into the low 30s yet again, with the fastest time of the race being a 1:30.2 set by our leader. Excuse me, our best time is now a 1:30 dead set by P2 in the pro class, Liam. These times are getting faster and faster as this dry line continues to form and as water is pushed back off of the track.
And one thing that might not be picking up on the camera here is there is a lot of throttle control going on from these drivers. Some of these corners are actually pretty flat in a dry setting, and to see all these drivers taking different strategies on how they're managing their grip is very interesting to watch. I'm hearing
Yes, it
some
is.
people doing a tapping technique, which was made famous by Ayrton Senna. I'm hearing some drivers doing a more naturally trail braked kind of design where they're getting on the throttle slightly later than they usually would on a dry line. It's very interesting to watch how they're changing their strategies based on the conditions here.
Yes, yeah. And as they continue to turn laps, of course, learning more, trying different setups, as is the Wi-Fi as a whole.
Okay, we are good to go. We are live.
Sweet. Yeah, I was just saying how these groups of karts are just sticking so close to each other, and the times continue to get faster and faster and faster. As it looks like we've actually have a change of lead in the pro class. Liam is now your leader, continuing to set blistering lap times, already opening up that gap to P2 of Mark. And Liam, who may have started a little bit further back because of the reverse grid, now in the lead of the pro karts.
And look at these trails coming off of the karts. There is still so much water on this track. Even with dry lines starting to form, drivers are absolutely pushing as hard as they can and running wide into these puddles on the outside, and it is definitely affecting their grip. You can see a lot of hand movement happening compared to regular lines. Some even hitting full lock on turn-in, such as Alex Roberts here, fighting to reclaim his win from the first heat.
Yeah, he's sitting in P2 right now. He's setting what looks to be the best pace almost of the entire track, actually. He's setting fantastic times. Over that gap, he looks like he lost quite a bit of time fighting with those people trying to make up spots, as the leader of the heavy class, Ralph, is slightly too far away from Alex. Looks to be around a 4 to 5 second gap with just under 2 minutes remaining in this race for the lead of heavy.
And as we come into the final sections here, it is going to be interesting to watch how these drivers have changed their lines, not just from the previous race, but from the start of this race as well. You can see quite a few drivers still experimenting through the corners, just trying to find the best possible way to get through here to make any little instance up. And as Stuart mentioned before, the gaps are harder to make up because of these conditions, but at the same time, they're also just as unpredictable because one little spin can completely set someone out of the race, as we have seen here coming out of turn 9.
Absolutely. Now, with just less than a minute remaining, Liam is your current leader in the pros. Alex Roberts. Oh my goodness gracious, we were just talking about it. Alex is now taking the lead in the heavy class over Ralph. Setting all that time. It looks like Ralph had an incident, maybe an off, as his last time was well over 5-6 seconds off the pace. Alex is now taking the lead in heavy, and Kai now is your leader in the light class.
And as Alex leads the heavyweight class through turn 8, we're headed into the final minute of the race here. We've got some slow carts coming through turn 9. I'm not sure what's happening there.
Wow, it is absolutely kicked off there on the last lap of the race. Everyone has had a problem there in turns 8 and 9. Looks like those are some of the light drivers just trying to make up the last bit of time that they can before this lap, or before this race comes to a close. As we can see the yellow flags being waved, the checker flag is out. This is the end of Heat 2 for Group B.
And Alex Roberts showing no mercy, counter steering into turn 13, absolutely gapping the cart behind. He has put a major lead on these carts leading into the end of the race. He is definitely not playing around.
Yeah, Alex looks to have won a second heat tonight, as Liam, also your winner in pro by the looks of things. So it looks to be Liam wins the pro class of Heat 2, Alex wins heavy, and Kai wins the light class. Excuse me, we just had a change of lead. It looks like Kai had an issue just finishing out the race, as JJ takes the lead of the light class to end out Heat 2.
Wow, so we had not just in the heavyweight class, but the lightweight class as well. A very last minute mistake led to losing the lead of the race just like that. And as we've been stressing throughout this entire live stream, it just goes to show how quickly things can change and how unpredictable events like this can truly be. You really never want to give up any single corner of this track. Any little pace that you can make up can make a huge difference later on because of mistakes like this at the end.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, no one that started the race in pole position of this event of Heat 2 for Group B ended up winning the race. There was a lead change in every category.
You're absolutely right, Stuart. It's so interesting to see how these drivers are adjusting their driving styles, being able to do anything they possibly can in order to make up for the conditions we are facing tonight. There's so much happening on the track here, not just on track, but off as well. We have tons of spectators who have come out to watch this event. We have staff running around. We have pit crews. Anything that can help our drivers perform at their best tonight, they are here, they are ready, and they are at their absolute best, doing anything they can to make this the best race possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And now it looks like that we are going to be moving on to our finals, if I'm not mistaken. Those were our two heats. Those are our two groups, two heats for both of our groups that are out here tonight. I believe that we are going to be going into either our C or B final, depending on how the seeding works out.
And as the final carts are coming back off track into the pit lane, everyone is discussing strategies and different opportunities in order to get the best possible finish out of these finals. A lot of eyes are on different drivers tonight. One that stands out, Alex Roberts finishing P1 in the heavyweight class in both of his stints tonight. Another driver we've had our eyes on is Ethan Folst. He had an unfortunate spin in turn 9 on his first stint at the beginning of the race. And it's very important to take it as serious as possible in order to not waste these opportunities at hand. Because even with 2 finishes in his stints, anything can happen in these finals. There are so many opportunities for mistakes, for people to gain a slight edge. The track, as we've seen through these last few races, has been ever so changing. There are so many factors that go into what makes a winner of the league nights here at Orlando Kart Center.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we still have a little bit of an intermission. We will see how much longer it will take until our finals get underway. Because we almost have a little bit of a break for our drivers. So like, relax, catch a breath, find out where they're actually going to end up for their finals.
As you can see, our staff here at Orlando Kart Center is amped and fired up, ready for these finals to come out. Everyone is dealing with this rain in different ways, but everyone is keeping good spirits, and you love to see it. So, if you don't mind filling in some commentary here, Stuart, I'm going to try to get us an outside view of the overall track to kind of get an idea of what the conditions are in some of the back sections of the track that drivers have been dealing with.
Go for it, go for it. I'll keep you posted on how the connection is. As we saw earlier, the cell phone connection was pretty good, but we will see how it pans out. As you are doing that, I'm going to have a little bit of applesauce as we have a little bit of a break because my throat hurts.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Stuart is a little under the weather tonight covering this commentary, so I am trying to fill in anywhere I can. Best wishes to Stuart for feeling better soon.
Thank you.
This is a little filler here. We've mentioned before, Panthera Collective is in the process of releasing a documentary on the 12 hours of Orlando Kart Center that took place in 2025. That should be posted this weekend, so be sure to stay tuned for that. We will be very excited to share that once we have more details.
Yeah, league lights are not the only thing that you can jump. Oh my gosh, dude, that looks awesome. Can you go down more towards turn one? Do you want to see if it'll work? I'm away back. Hi.
Okay, you can kind of see Stuart up there. He is the one managing our home base for this live stream. We have some of the staff heading out on track, most likely to fix some of these barriers, just check out some of these situations going on currently. So we are here on the side of Orlando Kart Center right now on one of the main viewing areas. As you can see, we have gone through those two main areas, and now that the rain has died down slightly, we can show you just how much water is sitting on this track for all of these drivers. There's so many changing conditions through all the different corners. Some track corners are cambered in, some corners are cambered out. That is going to lead to the water sticking in different positions throughout the corners. As you can see, even little dips in the pavement tend to build up some pretty big puddles over time. This groove here, you can see your usual dry line would be on the inside of that groove towards the curb. You cannot take that now, because if you do, the cart is not going to have enough grip from the race slicks, and it's going to send you into that puddle, and it's going to understeer. So you can lose a lot of speed going through corners like that, trying to take your regular line and not expecting the lack of grip that these drivers are currently dealing with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, Cam, the connection looks really good. Do you think for the next race, you could get a little bit of footage from down there, and I can even set up a local webcam here to get turn 7 and 8?
Let's do it. My GoPro should be fully charged if you want to use that.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to end up using this little Class B guy that I used a couple of minutes ago. I'm going to get that set up as we have a couple of moments to do so.
All right. How's the connection looking?
It looks surprisingly amazing. I can't believe how well it's working.
I love to hear it. All right. So if we look into turn 7 here on the entry, all of those dark sections, that is not a shadow. That is all water sitting on this track here tonight. There is so much stopping these drivers from the grip that they are so desperately looking for. You can really see with the lighting here just how much the elevation changes and tilts and rotates throughout these corners. It is not a flat track as much as it looks like it. There is a lot of different factors that are creating the conditions that drivers are driving in, not just the conditions affecting the drivers themselves. So looking across,
I'm currently working on.
Okay, you're all good. So looking across the track here through the back section, this is something we didn't really get to show much of in the previous race. There is so much opportunity through this section here because there are quite a few bumps that are pretty notorious here at Orlando Kart Center. You can actually see them right here from these circle puddles. Those are some of the most famous bumps throughout drivers at Orlando Kart Center, purely because of how much time can be lost if you run over them, even in a dry setting. So being able to thread the gap in between those, still manage your grip, and get a perfect entry and exit through this section is crucial, especially being so early in this turn 5 and 6 sector. I think so. Don't quote me on that. I know the Quick app works for some of that, but I don't think it's set up on my laptop, to be brutally honest. All right, so we're gonna keep walking around the track here at Orlando Kart Center while we're preparing for the finals of each Group A and B. We had Alex Roberts finish heavyweight first place in both stints. I believe he is the only driver to finish first in both of his stints tonight. So he is definitely the one to keep your eyes on. There's huge opportunities here for everyone involved, and there are plenty of underdog opportunities as well. In case you guys are just joining us, our second stint of Group B just finished up, and we saw not just the lightweight first place driver, but the heavyweight first place driver both spun out in the final laps of the race and ended up finishing. It's very slippery. I'm not going to run.
No, you're good. You're good. Honestly, dude, it looked really good with you. And this,
Awesome.
I don't know if you want to.
I'm going to walk through the pits, just kind of get the energy of all the drivers here, and we're going to be heading back to that section to go wash from the side of the track for these finals. It is going to be very interesting to see how much risk these drivers are willing to take through the final sections of this night. Heading here out on the pit lane, there is a lot going on already. People are preparing to get into the carts. Gas is going into vehicles. People are strapping up, putting their helmets on, getting the final adjustments made with their weights and everything else they can possibly do to give themselves the best opportunity at this league night.
I think I've done a. Let me look. Yes, I did. Oh my gosh. There we go. Now we have turns. We have this entire half of the track perfectly covered.
Oh,
live
beautiful.
for the finals. We are good to go.
All right, and as we head into the final race of Group A, drivers are finishing up the final touches on their karts. There's a lot going through these drivers' heads right now. There are so many points on the line. There are so many opportunities on the line, not just for this race, but for this championship as well. Whether it's the Skip Harper Scholarship in the Super League as the final prize of all of the league nights, whether it's getting into Super League to make a name for yourself as one of the top 20 drivers in this league. It is a very exclusive club to be in right now. So, super excited. Drivers everywhere. Love to see it.
All the oh, so.
And we did mention this in the previous live stream last night, but if you guys have any favorite camera angles, if you have any favorite positions on track, you are more than welcome to share them with us in the chat, and we will be more than happy to touch on some of those sections. We seem to work is always a work in progress. With Panthera Collective, we are always open to constructive criticism, so we would love to hear your feedback. All right, we are having some slight technical difficulties with the live stream right now. I'm going to keep covering the event as best as I can here from the pit lane. We are getting ready to go as we almost have a triple cone flip in the pit lane. Very, very exciting to see the staff entertaining.
There we go. Cam, can you hear me?
Yep, you're loud and clear.
All right, I have done a thing. This will look really awesome when we look at it later.
Beautiful.
All right, nice job being down there. So yes, this is indeed our first final of the evening, right?
Yes, it is. And as these drivers are waiting with the calm before the storm, a lot of the drivers from our previous day are still discussing some of the times trying to figure out the best possible strategies, talking about different things they experience through the corners. There's a lot of teamwork, even from rivals and competitors inside of the pit lane, all to try to get some slight edge over the other drivers.
Of course. Of course. Yeah, that information that you gain from being out there, that experience. Of course, you can talk to the others, try and make a plan.
I can say from personal experience, some of the best drivers I've ever met here, some of the likes of Jarrett Bohiris and Dylan Dana, have been more than willing to share a lot of their tips on just what goes into making a beautiful lap around Orlando Kart Center. I've learned so much as a driver over my 18 years of experience, just purely from having conversations in the pit lane, just like this. You can go up to drivers and say, hey, what did you do in this corner? How did you take this instead? Oh, I did this, or I braked at a different section, whatever it might be. There could be
Absolutely.
something out there that you've never heard of before for that track that can make all the difference in your race.
Absolutely. And it's kind of one of the cool things about Orlando Kart Center. Most of the people, nearly everyone is so happy to help get others up to speed. It's a really nice community to be a part of, especially out here with the league racing. Of course, it's a competition, but it's also, it's a great spot to meet some really cool people. Now, Cam, I'm going to go on mute for a second. I cannot hear you. I'm going to fix this. I'll be right back.
Okay. And as the final carts enter the race for
Good.
Group A, the final race for their group, there is a lot on the line here. Some drivers' visors are already fogged up before they've even left the pit lane. There is a lot of risk here. There is a lot of factors. Some drivers are having some difficulties with their carts. We're getting them out on track as fastly as we can as the first drivers are arriving at the grid, lining up into their proper positions in order to start this race off. So instead of having a qualifying for this final race, they are combining the points from the first race and the second race, which had a reversed grid from the finish of the first. So if you finished first in your first race, you started last in your second race. If your combined points from those two races is the highest, you are starting pole in the finals. So it is going to be very interesting to see if some of these unpredictable conditions have put the faster drivers towards the back of the pack, if they will be able to fight back through some of these sections and show that they belong in the front.
Absolutely. Now, a couple of different things about this event is that this is going to be the longest race of the evening so far. I can see on timing it's nearly at 15 minutes long, so these guys are going to have a little bit of a longer time out here on track. Another thing is that our top finishers from this event are going to be bumped up to the next final. This is the first final. This is technically on the lowest rung of finals. So our top finishers here will be allowed to compete in the next finals tonight.
You're absolutely right, Stuart. There's so much on the line for these drivers if they're trying to make it into Super League, get that Skip Barker scholarship. There are so many opportunities for them in order to grow themselves, not just as a driver, but in their careers as a driver as well. There's a lot on the line and not much time to prove it. 15 minutes may sound like a long race compared to some of the ones that we've done, but you believe me, from personal experience, it will be gone in a second for these drivers. There is little to no time if you make a mistake in order to regain that time that you lost. No matter what section of the track you may be on, it is very crucial to stay consistent and stay calm as a driver and stay constantly reacting to your conditions around you as much as possible in order to maintain the best possible lap time without overdriving or over risking your chances at the finals.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now I'm going to boot up the second camera as we have a great view of that section of the track. Let me get this set up. Fantastic job getting out there.
Thank you, thank you. As always, if you're just tuning in, my name is Cam. My co-host is Stuart. We are representing Panthera Collective on the official Orlando Kart Center League race live stream. It is an honor and a privilege for us to be able to cover this for you guys today. As the green flag waves into turn 1, we are getting some serious action already. Drivers battling side by side in between each other as we head into the sections of 5 and 6. It is going to be interesting to see how these drivers take the braking zone almost completely blind with the conditions that we have. There are quite a few puddles on the inside. All the drivers squeezing in between the 2 bumps there.
Wow, that is some close action
And we've
there.
got multiple spins. I can see quite a few drivers in the pits freaking out at the TVs watching what we're witnessing right now. There is a lot of action going on, a lot of risk being taken by every single driver on this grid. As we
What
head into 8 and 9,
scenes.
there is one driver making quite a significant cut against the rest. The entire pack is fighting fiercely behind to try to get that P2 position. As we see the battle for second through the back straight hairpin. Coming out of 10. Still a significant lead on the pack from our head driver here. As the battles behind get more intense, we're seeing some drivers peeking up the inside with 3 wide through turn 13. As a huge pack comes in running wide, there's another incident.
At least 3 wide. Goodness gracious.
It is the same driver that unfortunately spun in turn 6, spinning again in turn 13 from contact. That shows just how unfortunate your race can turn so quickly at the beginning. It is so crucial, not just to have spatial awareness, but also the reaction time in order to avoid these. And even then, sometimes it's just not enough. The rain is unforgiving, the rain is unpredictable, and no matter how good of a driver you are, it will eat you alive.
That's side by side for the lead there, coming down into turn 5 as our pole sitter in the orange helmet, or at least who is in the lead at the start of the stop, has lost the lead to the driver behind. I believe that is now Johnny over Benjamin in this final. We have a lead change now coming down into turn 7. All those podium guys are so close to one another.
Absolutely, and the rain really doesn't do the gaps justice. It looks like a much bigger gap than it actually is in reality because of how much longer your braking zones are in a condition like this. You're braking probably 50 meters sooner than you usually would in order to make the proper line off of the rubber that you would usually take for the dry line. So it is super important that these drivers are not just pushing each other to make it as hard as possible to stay on those optimal lines, but also conserving their speed and conserving any ability they can with minimal inputs to the cart in order to carry it through the corner and not slow down too much in that mid apex.
Absolutely. Great points being raised. And it's really great to be able to see different sections of the track here with this race as we see down in turn 5 how wet it is and how people are trying to take different defensive lines and almost going off track just to try and keep the momentum carrying forward. It now looks like our leader. Yeah, they have a bit of a gap now, don't they? Where's the driver with the orange helmet? They were at the lead just over a lap ago.
He has fallen back significantly. So we have had an unfortunate incident from our original lead contender. As you can see, he's coming back here. Our number 21 Kart has had a significant mistake and lost his contention for the lead as he started out.
The back half of the pack is just so spread out. Or this, the people that haven't been involved in too many incidents, still fighting so close up the grid.
Absolutely, and we're seeing quite a few spins coming into this turn 5 and 6 section. It is incredibly hard to get this section right, even in the dry. So to watch these drivers battle with 2 puddles built inside of the bumps that are oh so infamous through this section, as well as overall little to no grip coming out of these dry slicks on a wet track. It is definitely one of the most stressful races of the night for these drivers.
Absolutely. I would say the most stressful for the driver competing in here. If they don't finish high enough in this race, they are done for their night.
Absolutely. So do you want to explain to anyone who might not know how the league situation works, what that means, and how someone gets eliminated from these events?
Sure, of course. So each night here at Orlando Kart Center is almost its own bracket-style championship. We start out with 2 groups competing in both of their heats, and depending on how well you do in those heats, you either get assigned to what looks to be B final or A final. Now, B final, it still has some great competition. However, if you do not finish high enough in B final, you are not making it to A final. Your overall score for the event is how well you do throughout all of the events, with the most points being scored in those finals. So each race is, of course, important. However, these finals are by far the most important.
You're absolutely right, Stuart. And there's so much on the line because only the top 20 drivers from these events are going to have the opportunity to join the Super League, which the grand prize at that is the Skip Barber Racing School scholarship in order to be able to earn your professional racing license. It is your first step in becoming a professional race car driver and the start of plenty new opportunities for your future. So all of these drivers are fighting ruthlessly to even get the chance for an opportunity like this.
Absolutely. And if you're unaware of the Skip Barber sponsorship that we have here at Orlando Kart Center, the top finisher of the Super League will be able to have a Skip Barber scholarship. That means a practice day, that means support, that means help from true professional people in the motorsports, sphere of influence. Skip Barber is a very, very, high tier racing team. And with the scholarship on the line, these guys are really going at it.
And a lot of these drivers out here, Stuart, have dreams of racing in the in IMSA, in WEC, in SCCA. There are so many opportunities out there. Some people ask, how do you get into racing? How do you become a true professional race car driver? This is where it starts. You have to go out, you have to get that experience in karting. You have to get your international racing license at some point. And Skip
Absolutely.
Barber is what makes that happen. Orlando Kart Center is bridging that gap for drivers. Oh, big spin coming out into the main section here of turn 6.
Goodness gracious, where was that?
This is
The coverage gone a little bit high.
very dangerous spot in order to spin. People are fighting extremely hard out of turn 6, and he is not happy with himself after that.
Fantastic coverage. This is really looking fantastic. We still have great coverage here in turn 7. Courtesy of one Alex Roberts who hopped in to help out on camera.
Did he really?
Yeah, legit. Yeah, he's on the camera right now. Yeah.
Shout out to Alex for helping out on the cameras. Alex is one of our photographers at Panthera Collective, and he does an incredible job. So I love to hear that he is assisting us with this cover this race today.
Yeah, I needed a bit of help because I can't be on the mic and do the camera at the same time because it literally, thank you so much, man. It literally does not reach far enough to be able to get the track.
Oh, and we've had a big incident into turn 5 here. Someone has spun across the rumble strips into the barrier. Thankfully, no other incidents were caught. As we have another spin into P13 with 3 drivers approaching very quickly, yellow flags being waved across the track. Lots of action happening in every single sector right now.
This looks to be the dying moments of this final, as I'm starting to see possibly the checker flag being ready to be waved as we are on zeros across the board as far as timing goes.
Alrighty, and coming through these final sections of the track, drivers are still pushing as hard as they possibly can, trying to make up any final tenths, as there's a fight for the inside line on turn 7 from multiple drivers here. Multiple side by side through turn 5.
Look at that move! Wow. That was amazing, being able to use that spinner to their advantage there. Be able to get another position with just a couple of moments left in this race.
That just goes to show how strategy adjustments can happen in the blink of an eye here at Orlando Kart Center. There are so many opportunities to gain a position, to gain an extra tenth, and that goes such a long way in the long span of
Absolutely. There in just turn 7, we had to move around the outside headed into turns 8 and 9. That was a fantastic move done. That's always my favorite spot to get a move done, around the outside of turn 7. Come on. Can't beat it.
Oh, yeah.
As it looks like our leaders, wow, we have a proper fight in the light class. less than a second separating our two leaders. They've just been going back and forth for the last couple of laps. Johnny and Jose there in P1 and P2. That has been a fantastic fight between the two. As this looks to be now the end of the race, it looks like Johnny ended up getting the win over Jose in the last couple of moments in the light class. Then in heavy, Robert is your winner.
All right, and as our drivers come back into the pit lane after our first finals race of the night, Group A has been very competitive throughout. Lots of spins, lots of competitive moves. Everyone taking as many risks as they can, going 3 wide through some of the most technical sections of the track, just desperately trying to get any positions that they can throughout these 15 minutes of their finals.
Absolutely, and thank you again to Alex for that awesome camera help. I've now plugged back in my phone. We are now charging it. It is now on 11%, as that is the end of our first final of the evening with multiple more to go.
It is an incredible opportunity to get to cover an event like this and to see just how much their drivers are giving their absolute all to try to get the best possible position, the most possible points, and the best possible chance at the benefits being provided by Orlando Kart Center here today.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So as we're transitioning in between our first finals race and moving into Group B's final race of the night, let's talk a little bit about the racecraft going on here.
Yeah.
Stuart, I'd love to know, are there any tips you can give our viewers on if they wanted to race in the rain at a track like this? What are some tips you would give them in order to improve?
Absolutely. Well, I don't want to give out too many tips, of course. No, I'm kidding. But no, for real, I'd say that the number one rule is to try and continue to experiment with your lines, but don't push the envelope too far when you know you can't. By that I mean
Absolutely.
qualifying and practice with those being mixed here at OKC League. That is the time to experiment with different lines. Of course, you want to be testing the waters literally during the race. However, it's much more dangerous for multiple reasons to be doing that in the race. You know, the number one being that you are so close to so many other people. So really try and gain as much experience and as much confidence as you can before you're really going to be nearby a whole bunch of other drivers. That is your time. You kind of have to almost have like your own time management. You know, both me and Cam, I know I've done many events driving in the rain here, and it's been different every single time. The lines have been different every single time. So no matter what your experience is, you really just have to listen to the track and just play by its rules, essentially. You cannot push the envelope too far because it will get you if you push a little bit too much.
100%. There's so many factors going into the races here, especially in these final sections. Everyone is pushing for these last final bits that they can possibly get.
Cam, it just started raining. It just started raining quite a bit more. I'm not trying to jump in here, but it's coming down proper now.
It most certainly is, Stuart. You're absolutely right. It is going to be a very interesting Group B race here.
Look at that. That is incredible. Wow, we're really going to be in for a treat. I can hear through my headphones how hard it's coming down. This is going to be exciting.
There are so many opportunities here. Multiple classes racing against each other through here. There are a lot of eyes on driver Alex Roberts right now, who won P1 in not just his first, but his second stint as well. There are so many opportunities here to gain positions, to take opportunities from others' mistakes. It is crucial to be on the top of your game through every single corner of this track.
See, it looks like that we're at least going to have 3 finals this evening, as Alex and a couple of the other top finishers. Yep, I got you. It dropped a little bit. The connection's not the best at the moment.
As the weather picks up here, we're fighting a couple technical gremlins through our live stream, unfortunately, but we are still covering everything here.
All right, Cam, here's a question for you. Do you have the Wi-Fi set up on your phone?
I do not.
Ah, haha. Okay.
Do you want to sort that out real quick while these guys are gridding?
You know what? I don't know why, but for whatever reason, with your cell phone service, it was not that bad out there. But I don't think you want to be out there anymore. If you come up here, I'll give you the Wi-Fi password. Or actually, you know what? No, I think it'll be all right. Cam, I think that you're gonna want to go back up into the turns 8 and 9 overlook, not up here where I am, but the other outlook. I think that'll be a kind of warm spot for you where you can see most of the track because you don't want to be out there on the big balcony anymore. It's way too wet,
Yeah.
and you'll hopefully have good enough connection there. If you don't, then I'll give you the password for the Wi-Fi. As you can see, we're getting the wind behind our sails out here at Orlando Kart Center for this race coverage. But this has honestly been a really, really great experience to be able to cover this. I think that we've done a fantastic job. And it's been just a fantastic event to be able to watch, let alone be a part of.
And as the final carts are heading towards the grid, drivers are lining up for the best possible opportunity at scoring some points here in the finals. It is crucial that they take this as serious as possible through this final race in order to secure their spot in the final race of the night.
Yeah, that's going to be very, very important to see who's really going to end up into our A final after this race.
All right, and as we return to the live stream setup back upstairs above the pits, we are going to swap camera angles for just a moment here. Hi,
Hello.
Stuart.
Oh wow,
All
I'm
right.
color coordinated.
Let's get this set up real quick. Can you swap view?
This. You know what? Go back over there. But I think it'll be okay because the Wi-Fi doesn't even reach over there anyways. Salute. As Cam goes back off into the sunset.
And we're off.
Oh wait, crap, Cam! I should have given you my jacket. I have a rain jacket literally right next to me.
Oh, you're fine, dude. I got one up there too.
Okay.
I think I gotta have the shirt on the outside anyway.
Don't worry, the race is still not started yet. We're still under red flag. We're all right.
Alrighty.
All right, here we go. This is the B final here at Orlando Kart Center tonight. Your top finishers of this will be invited to compete in our top final as we are green and underway as our first carts are making their way through the exit of turn 6, now coming towards us into turn 7. It looks like everyone's got a pretty okay getaway. However, there are a ton of carts that are going to be fighting, and we shall see what happens. The pro carts look to be all right. Let's see what happens with our normal rental carts.
All the drivers seem to have a pretty good understanding of where the drive line is sitting right now. There's still a brighter section of the track they can use for reference, but it is forever changing throughout this race. There's so many different levels of grip throughout the entire track that they're dealing with every single lap. It is crucial that they pay as much attention as possible to the situations unfolding around them.
Absolutely. The yellows are already waving.
And as the drivers are heading into turn 13, there is quite a bit of fighting.
Look at everyone coming into turn 13. Look how close everyone is, how many moves are going back and forth, back and forth. However, I'm not seeing any spins or any incidents. Everyone's doing a very good job. They know it's at stake. They know they can't toss everything away so early into this final.
Double switchbacks coming in and out of 13. There's so much action happening right now. Already in the first few laps of the race, everyone is cutthroat through every corner trying to get any little bit of time they possibly can. As the leader comes into turn 7, they have a significant gap on the rest of the Pro Kart grid.
Yeah, there
Looks like
is a
driver
significant gap.
11.
The leader in the process over a 3-second gap already.
And as the grid starts to spread out coming into lap 3, Stuart, can we get a grid checkup on see who is in the lead for each individual class?
I'm sorry, what'd you just say? It's very loud up here.
Can we get a grid check, please, for positions?
Oh, yes, of course. In the pro category, we have Mark out in front with a 3-second gap over Matthew. In the light section, we have Nico, who's been a force to be reckoned with throughout this evening, with a multiple second gap. Already a 3-second gap down to the next driver in the light class. However, Nico is being followed very closely by Brian in the heavy class. There are no other heavies in sight of Brian. So it's currently Mark in the lead of pros, Nico in the lead of lights, and Brian just behind Nico on track, who is leading the heavy class.
And just in this lap alone, I counted 3 separate lines of drivers going 3 wide into turn 13, which is one of the most dangerous, easiest corners to make a mistake throughout this entire track.
Absolutely,
especially
and dangerous
in
to
the
lose your
rain.
position. It's such an easy spot as well. We've seen multiple people lose it, as well as maintain their own position, everything. Turn 13 has been definitely one to watch all evening.
And as the leader in the Pro Kart class comes through turn 8, we're seeing a significant gap from the first 3 drivers of Pro class. Still fighting ruthlessly behind, might actually be slowing each other down through these corners because of the moisture on the track.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and they're worried about trying to go side by side just because it's so easy to have an issue. And
It is
this
very
rain has,
difficult to judge.
dude,
the
this rain
conditions
has
like
opened
these.
up. It is coming down hard now.
We are definitely seeing some heavier rain out here. It is filling the sky with water right now. I can see the puddles on the track growing extremely quickly. Parts of the track I looked at not that long ago are already bigger than they were before.
Absolutely, yeah, and that gap that line that we've been seeing form in turn 7's washed away again, as the times I'm now seeing on the timetables are getting slower and slower and slower.
Some very intense battles still happening as well. Drivers are realizing just how much needs to be done in order to make these overtakes happen. It is so difficult to judge when a good opportunity is and when you're going to send both of you off of the track going for an overtake. So it is crucial for risk management and spatial awareness to be the top priority for these drivers.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it looks like that there are just a couple of minutes left in this race, and these gaps have just gotten wider and wider. Mark really stretching his legs now with a 5-second gap over Matthew in P2. In the light class, there is now a 5-second gap between Nico and David for the lead of light, and heavy. Brian is running a very lonesome race now with around that gap has actually come down for heavy. Now just around 2 to 3 seconds for the lead of the heavy class.
And as we're seeing some spins across the track, drivers are adjusting as much as they possibly can. I'd like to point out something that I brought up earlier. I want you guys to pay attention to the steering wheel inputs of each individual driver. Everyone here has a very different driving style and is reacting to the conditions changing very differently. It is very interesting to watch which strategies are working, which ones aren't, and which are going to be the most capable making the best of these conditions.
Absolutely, absolutely, and also just for clarity, the coverage looks good, the connection is good, we are doing good. As this this second final is nearing its conclusion.
Now, as we can see coming out of turn 13, drivers are still battling ruthlessly for any position they can possibly gain. This race is not over yet. There's any opportunity they could possibly get, they are going to take it.
Absolutely. Although a lot of these guys, now looking at the timing, low 30s, some drivers in mid 30s. this weather is really impacting these guys. Of course, it has been all night. I was talking about the active weather happening right now, really messing up these dry lines. Everyone's still trying to stick pretty single file, as you can see, trying to stick to the line that is now trying to be formed. Everywhere else out on track, you can see a very clear line. However, disregarding that line going too wide into turns 8 and 9, we'll see how that turns out, as it looks like that it was all right, as I don't see any yellow flags, as these guys are really trying to push each other into what could be their final session.
Coming off of the apex. He went just a little too wide coming out of turn 9 onto the back straight, and unfortunately sent himself spinning across. Thankfully, he only lost one position there, but it was a huge gap that was just given up in the blink of an eye.
Look at how close all of these guys still are. Even though we're well halfway past this race, there's so many drivers still so close to one another.
It's also very interesting to see drivers are still experimenting with their lines. I've noticed certain drivers are taking different lines through the corners throughout the race, trying to find the best possible position to gain themselves the grip they are looking for. We have yellow flags through sections 5 and 6 right now as we finish the race.
Absolutely, yeah. This looks to be it for our B final this evening at Pro League.
Check.
Yep. It's lagged quite a bit. Again, it's not on your end. It's just the Wi-Fi. But it looks like we got you back now. Nice job getting down there in the pits. Yes, it looks like our winner for the pros tonight in the B final was indeed Mark, who also looks to have set one of the fastest times today, 1:30.6. Down to the lights, Nico was your winner, with David and Kai joining him on the podium for the B final. And down in the heavies, we have Alan, who was your winner, just ahead of Aiden, who finishes out the podium of the heavies with Brian, who finished P3.
Absolutely incredible racing considering the conditions here tonight. We've seen absolutely ruthless driving from every single person on the grid here tonight. Everyone is out here not just for fun, but to win as well. And they're doing everything they can, giving it their all to make that happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, despite this has been a fantastic night of racing, hasn't it? It's been incredible, really.
It's going to be interesting to see how the next group is going to turn out. The races are only going to get more intense from here, as the battles are only going to get more competitive and more fierce as we move towards the end of the night.
Yeah, now again, kind of in between our other heats, this looks to be a couple of moments of rest in between our finals, as we have our last batch of drivers coming out for their final, taking a couple of moments, finding out where everyone is, finding out the standings of everyone. This will take a couple of moments, but then once we get underway, we will have some very, very good racing to close out the evening.
You're absolutely right, Stuart. It's going to be interesting to watch. There's so many opportunities here with the track changing. This is actually a great opportunity to show off just how different the track can be every single time you go out, even just based on the heats. If we look at turns 7 and 8 right here, leading into turn 9, we can see multiple different sections of the track where some sections have puddles, some sections are dry, some are wet with no puddles, all scattered across. So depending on if you're 2 wide, 3 wide, no matter what the situation might be, it is going to be very difficult to judge where the true optimum line is on this track. So being a diverse driver, being modular with your strategies, and allowing yourself to change how you were driving the car and which lines you were taking across the track is crucial to victory here.
Absolutely. And of course, it's not just this section of the track that's like that. The entire track is riddled with those puddles, those ever-changing puddles that these guys are having to compete with all across the track, really. It's absolutely incredible how much this place can change lap by lap by lap, by visit by visit by visit. Each time it's going to be different with conditions like this.
100%. And if you guys missed it earlier in the live stream, all karts are running on dry slicks, so there is no grooves whatsoever to displace that water underneath the tires. Drivers are having to fight those puddles head on and take the absolute best line they can to maintain their grip. These karts also have a solid rear axle and no suspension, so anything that could possibly be done in order to gain an advantage here, they are going to take.
Okay, and now this is indeed our final. So the top drivers from the rental class series are now going to be driving pro karts to close out the evening of our A final. These are the top performing drivers of this evening in the pros, or excuse me, yes, they are in the pros now, but they have been competing in the normal rental karts. So these guys, despite they've been doing fantastic this evening, they're gonna have to get up to grips. So they're gonna have to get up to grips quick with driving machinery that they have not driven all evening. Again, these are our pro karts. These are what are used in the Super League and what the Pro Kart Series have been using this evening. These guys are a few seconds a lap at least faster than the rental karts, and all these guys are going to be driving them for the first time in a highly competitive A final.
It all comes down to this, Stuart. This is the final opportunity for them of the night to prove that they belong to be here, they belong at the front, and they deserve every single prize that has been presented for them. This is the final race of the league night for Orlando Kart Center in the Pro Karts. All the drivers are very excited, ready to go for this final race. Getting very close. A lot of eyes on Alex Roberts tonight, being one of the only drivers to finish P1 in both of his stints. Incredible opportunities for him. You just did, don't worry. So it sounds like our live stream is gaining some new fans at the moment up with Stuart in the pits as the pro karts are heading out in the final race of this section. All right, and as our pro karts are heading out for the final race of the night, this is going to be the most intense, the most brutal competition out of the entire night. Everyone is competing to prove that they belong to be here, that they deserve these prizes, and that they belong in the Super League.
Oh man, I'm excited.
This is a huge opportunity
I'm really excited.
for these drivers coming from all different walks of life, all different levels of racing experience, all different backgrounds.
Now, the one thing that we might have after this, I'm not sure if the pro drivers are going to be going out after this, or if the last final was their final for them. I get $5 for every time I say final. I'm kidding. But this, at least for these drivers, for these guys who have competed in all these different heats and the previous final, this is it for them. This is it. This entire night has led up to this.
This is a lot of risk, a lot of stress, and a lot of opportunity. The pressure can easily get to these drivers if they allow it. It is very important to manage not just the stress that they are under, but the carts underneath them as well. There is so much water on the track currently. It is going to be extremely difficult to get the most out of these carts.
Yeah, goodness gracious. Yeah, actually, that goes kind of back to what I was saying earlier. Even though these guys are all great drivers, this is their first time driving the pro karts this evening. So they're going to have a lot of things to deal with and try and get up to speed as quickly as possible right at the get-go of this race because they aren't even having practice. They're just going out there and racing.
So they are going out, just to give a little bit more context, on a similar chassis. It is pretty much the exact same chassis as they were driving before. However, the tires that they are racing on are still dry slicks, but they are even less grip than the previous class. On top of that, the engines that they are using also make more torque than the rental carts. So there is little to no grip through those rear tires as they're coming through sections 7, 13, 9, all of the above. It is very, very crucial to manage your speed carefully and not overcorrect the cart, because one small mistake, one little overcorrection can entirely ruin your race here.
Absolutely. And again, to those who just joined, I saw the views just went up a little bit. This is our A final. This has been essentially what the entire evening has been leading up to. These are our top performing drivers from this evening, competing in our top class of rental carts. And the track is absolutely soaked. You are in for a fantastic treat of racing.
And we would like to thank you all again for tuning into the live stream. My name
Yeah.
is Cam, my co-host is Stuart. We
Hello.
are from Panthera Collective, here working with Orlando Kart Center to cover the official live stream of the league race for tonight. As Stuart mentioned, we are headed into the final race for this class of drivers here. It is going to be interesting to see how much risk they are willing to take, what opportunities they are going to go for, and how they manage the ever-changing conditions of this track tonight.
Cam, this is a really good angle, but if you head back up to the awning, oh no, never mind. I was saying we might be able to get the race start, but we'll be able to get the race start as these guys come right past us. Let's see what happens. It's gonna be a rolling start, and here we go for our A final tonight at Pro League at Orlando Kart Center.
And we are green as the drivers head into turn 1. They are all fully bunched up through the corner. No one is letting off the gas. Super close, racing through the back section, headed towards turn 5 right now. Everyone is racing very closely. Thankfully, no incidents just yet as they head into the braking zone of turn 5. Very technical section of the track here. A lot of water on the track as well. It looks like P2 was able to break through and make a pass there. Oh, and we have contact with the barrier coming out of turn 5, waving yellows through that section there as we come into turn 6.
Here we go. As they go around turn 7 into this 8 and 9, very technical section, very important. You'll see these guys come roaring past us here in these pro karts. Here we go.
We have Ethan Fultz leading the pack, taking the outside line here into turn 9. Couple drivers going wide outside. Lots of wheel spin.
Wow, what a start to the race. Ethan being able to take the lead early. You'll see his timing updates shortly as they cross the start-finish line.
And you can see just how much they're having to fight that steering wheel to keep them on the line they're looking for. There's so many opportunities to make mistakes here. There's so many opportunities to gain positions here.
Absolutely.
As we move back to the track viewing station, it is going to be interesting to see how quickly these drivers end up splitting up across the track, because there are so many opportunities for those spins. We tend to see pretty early on tonight, the grid is splitting itself up pretty evenly.
Absolutely. I just heard a slight funk as I see yellows coming out in turn 5.
We have contact with the barrier in turn 5, as well as a huge puddle people have been splashing up. I've seen is splashing up roughly twice as high as the carts on the main straightaway as well. On the outside, there is a huge tail off of the back of these carts. There is by far the most standing water on the track of the night.
Goodness gracious. And our leader, Ethan Fultz, where is he? I don't see him. He was leading. There he is, down now in 4th place. As our leader now looks to be Nico, who won that B final earlier in the evening to make it back up, or finish very well, and has fought his way back up to get into the A final. Alex Roberts,
And
another.
Alex Roberts.
Yeah. You see him. He's getting up there.
An incredible run down the back straight out of turn 9, getting a huge opportunity into P2 here. He is making up a ton of time on the leader already. He is flying right now. Ethan Fultz looking up the inside of turn 13, trying to get that 3rd position back. Huge wheel spin from some of the drivers coming into turn 13.
Wow, and now the times are really setting in. Nico now in the lead of the light class. And then Alex now just behind in the lead for the heavies. Josh just behind both of them. Trying to close in on Alex for the lead of the heavy class. Just around a second and a half behind Alex. Just behind Josh. Now Ethan, who is in the lead of the race, now dropped down to P4 overall. P2 in the light class. Just around 4 seconds off of the lead.
We just had an entire barrier wall fall down in between turns 4 and 5. As Nico comes into turn 8 here, closely by Alex Roberts.
Look at that water. Look how much water.
For that third position. Third position spins into turn 9.
Third is out.
That is huge. Ethan falls back into third place. Alex Roberts in P2. Nico still currently P1 into the back straight hairpin. They're headed into turns 10 and 11 here.
That was Josh. That was who was in second place, closing in on Alex for the lead of the heavies, going off into the little bridge between turns 8 and 9. What a moment there in this race.
The two leaders of their classes are putting a significant gap on the grid. Ethan falls close behind in third, losing a bit of time on them, but still putting a significant gap on the rest of the grid. They're entirely in a race of their own right now.
Could you say a league of their own? Get it?
All right. All right. We're getting to that point of the night. It's 2 a.m.
Yeah, we are. We are.
Here at Orlando Kart Center.
As now, Ethan now third overall, second place, just around 5 seconds off of the lead now, who is occupied by Nico. It's already a fantastic
I'm gonna be honest.
event. Yeah, what's up?
Standing here down by the track, I can't tell if some of the noise I'm hearing is thunder or rumbles of the barriers being scraped. Every single track limit is being pushed right now as the gap with Nico and Alex Roberts, the leaders of the light and heavyweight class, are significant right now. Ethan Folse leading the rest of the pack in P3 currently, P2 in the lightweight class.
Well, you know what? At least for my line of thinking, I'm going to go with the rumbles of the barriers. As when there was that turn 5 contact, I could hear it all the way from here when those yellows went up. That was an absolutely insane moment in this race. However, now the gaps look to be pretty even. Everyone has spread themselves out pretty neatly, and they're getting on this race pretty darn well. As Nico still in the lead of the light, Alex just behind the lead of the heavies, Ethan P2 in light, JJ P3 in light, Ralph P2 in heavy, Josh P3 in heavy, Ethan P4 in heavy, and then finishing out the lights, P8 overall, we have Camilo, P9 overall, Joshua also in the light class, Jefferson heavy, P10 overall, Steven P11 in the heavy class, 11th overall, Alan in the heavy class, P12 overall, Brian in the heavy class, P13 overall, and then Augustin in P14 overall, closing us out in the light class.
Definitely some close racing here tonight. And now that the grid is starting to split themselves up quite a bit, it seems that drivers are starting to feel a bit more comfortable with their lines coming through here. Still huge tails of water coming up off the back of these carts, managing any lines they possibly can. Alex Roberts taking a very wide outside line, staying completely off of the dry line here. Ethan Folse taking a modified version of the dry line, slightly outside, but still relatively close to the center of the track. It is very interesting to see how these top leaders are taking very different strategies in order to gain their positions here tonight.
Yes, they are. And you know what, Cam? It's actually interesting that you mentioned Alex's line, as he just set one of the fastest times of this evening with a 1:27.6. That is a blistering lap time for these conditions, and I believe one of the best of the evening. He's currently closing in for Nico for the overall lead of the race. However, of course, they don't really need to fight as they're in different categories, and they don't really have any impact on each other for the standings.
And as you were mentioning that, I'm trying to pay attention to some of the driving styles of each of these individual drivers. And it's incredible to see. Not sure what's happening here. Seems to be some technicalities happening with the track.
I got you. You're good. Oh, the flags. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, you know what though? The fight for second place in the light class is actually just dipped beneath It's now sitting on a second and a half now between Ethan and JJ. We will keep an eye on that as this race continues to unfold.
All the drivers on their absolute limit, fighting the steering wheel to get through the sections of turn 8. The camber of the road is changing. The amount of water on the road is changing. The tire temperature is changing. There is so many factors that completely can change how the car actually feels to drive throughout each section of this race. Even in the same race, the beginning could feel completely different than the end. It is so important to be versatile in your driving styles and allow yourself to have multiple lines through this track in order to not overpush the carts based on these conditions.
Absolutely, yeah. Of course, you can't push the cart over its limits, no matter the conditions. You know, it'll always come back to haunt you. I mean, those normal rental carts, they're a bit easier to push. With these pro carts, they're a whole different beast, especially with those slightly older tires and slightly older chassis relative to our new rental carts. Especially in these conditions, these guys are having to be really careful. Like we were mentioning, there's a time and a place to push, and there's a time and a place to learn. This is, of course, a time where you want to be learning and you want to be pushing. However, this is not a practice session. This is a final tonight of Pro League here at Orlando Kart Center. Not a time to be messing around, as the rain looks to be just getting worse as this night continues forward. As I see yellows and I see a red flag, I believe that is the end of our race, as Nico takes the win in light and Alex just behind wins in the heavy class tonight at Pro League in a final. Congratulations to both of them for a fantastic evening all around for all of our drivers.
That is a 3-for-3 first place victory for Alex Roberts here tonight. He has came, saw, and conquered in every single race he has attempted so far tonight. What an incredible performance by him.
Absolutely. And finishing out the podium in light, it is Ethan Fultz in second place, and then JJ finishing out the podium for lights in the A final. Fantastic job for all of them. Alex, of course, winning in heavy. Just behind him, Ralph in the heavy class in P2. And then just behind Ralph, Josh closing out the podium in P3 for heavy class.
Alex Roberts and Ethan Fultz having a great conversation about their race here. Everyone in really good spirits after that. It's great to see drivers are not only pushing at their absolute limit, but they're having a great time doing it. That's what this is all about.
Absolutely. Yeah, fantastic job to all of these guys. It's a, achievement just to be able to even make it to a final, let alone getting a great result in such a very, very stiff competition.
It is absolutely crucial to keep your spatial awareness at an all-time high in races like this. As we saw, an entire barrier wall fell down in turn 5.
That was incredible.
It is very unpredictable, all the different things that can happen here throughout the race in such a short period of time.
Absolutely. Hey, how are you doing camera-wise? My phone is at 46%. Are you doing all right?
We are at 39, but
39.
the headset is full, so we should be okay for now.
Okay. All right. Yeah, if there's another race, then there should only be like one more.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that we're all right. As far as that headset goes, try your best to keep it out of the rain. I don't know. I don't think it's outdoor rated.
Yeah, I'm keeping it out of the water as much as I can.
All right, you're good.
How
You're
you
good.
feeling out of 3 for 3? That's amazing, man. You're doing great out there.
Yeah, great job to Alex.
Any tips you would give to the next group going out for their finals?
Stay all the way on the outside. All the way on. That's where all the grip is.
You actually set one of the best times of the night tonight doing that, so it's definitely working for you. Great job out there.
Sweet. Great stuff there. Great stuff. Big congratulations to Alex. Big congratulations to AJ. All of our guys, or excuse me, Nico and JJ, of course, we're still getting on the podium. But so great job to all these guys. What a fantastic evening for everyone involved.
Absolutely. The energy is high. The spirits are up. Everyone is fully focused on the competition here tonight. It is super important to everyone to do their best possible job at this position. in the night here tonight. As we
So-
can see, drivers are bringing out their weights to add to the carts here for their ballast in order to meet the minimum requirements for the race here tonight. This
Yeah,
is
this'll
the
be it.
finals. This is the absolute final race of the night. This is the biggest, the most intense, the most brutal. All drivers will be competing in the pro karts, which means worse tires, more torque, and even less grip. The competition here is fierce. It is going to be super competitive in terms of fighting for positions, not overdriving the carts, mitigating the amount of mistakes made, adjusting lines. There's so many factors here that are crucial to be paid attention to in order to secure a victory here at Orlando Kart Center.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. It looks to be that we're going to have a pretty strong grid here. These are the top performing drivers this evening in the pro class. We're going to be in for a treat as this track continues to get worse and worse. These guys, unlike our previous group, they've been driving these carts all evening. They know exactly what they need to do. So we will see.
You're absolutely right, Stuart. And we're seeing some really strong contenders from previously in the night getting ready, strapped in, and back onto the track. It is going to be interesting to see some of these top drivers all competing against each other for the most important race of the night.
Absolutely. And you know what? This upstairs area is cleared out quite a bit. After you're done in the pits, if you just want to come up here and be able to get the race, I think it'll lend itself to be a really good spot. Also keep you out of the rain a little bit more if you want to come up here.
Okay. I could go back on the side one again if you want, if the connection's good.
Sure.
Just
Yeah.
to
Oh,
get a
yeah. The
different
connection's
angle.
fine. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have the other camera set up there still?
Not anymore. I can try and get that going again. Sure. You know what? Hang on.
Okay,
I'll
awesome.
recruit someone.
Big shout out to the people around Orlando Kart Center helping us make this live stream happen. Big shout out to Orlando Kart Centers themselves for trusting us with this race. It is an honor and a privilege to be able to cover this for you guys here tonight. It has been a struggle. It has been a battle, not just for the drivers, but the staff as well. Please, please, please give all of the staff here at Orlando Kart Center a huge thank you for making this possible. They're staying here late. They're getting rained on. They're doing everything they can to make this night amazing for everyone here. So big shout out to all the staff here and big thank you to them. Awesome. This is the final race of the night. Orlando Kart Center, the official live stream of League Night. My name is Cam. My co-host is Stuart. We're here representing Panthera Collective with Orlando Kart Center to cover this League Night for you guys. This is the final race. The top competitors, the top karts, the worst tires, the most power, the hardest challenge. It is going to be interesting to see what kind of strategies these drivers take for tonight.
I've been muted this entire time. Okay, but no, for real, it looks like we have the top 10 drivers. There are only 10 drivers competing in this event, and that is what we are up against. We have 10 drivers, the worst conditions of the night. I have cameras set up, watching everyone go through turn 13 currently. Let's get this show on the road. This is our final race of the night.
It is
Here we
going to be
go.
crucial to maximize every single dry line they can find as they are disappearing very quickly. If they can take advantage of these spots that there is little to no rain still on the track, they will be able to gain a huge advantage towards the end of the race. Fireworks fly into the air as they head into lap one. Going through turn one, huge sprays of water coming off of the cars. Very tight competition between, still no spins through the track. Everything seems to be clean so far. Coming out of turn three, we have a very tight battle for the lead. The battle for P2 is side by side. As someone breaks early, there's a huge splash of water coming into turn 5. We have a very tight battle through here as our leader starts to gain a small gap in front of P2. There is still a very, very tight battle for the rest of the grid as they come back down here into turn 7.
Look at the gap that P1 has already. P1, if they're able to get the rest of this lap done, will be able to just run away from this as the rest of the podium goes side by side, just getting squeezed at the edge of the turn 7 as a move is being done for P2, almost not quite. P3 trying to get past P2 as all of our drivers are able to get through turns 8 and 9 a-okay.
Huge move in the battle of P2 coming through turn 7. They almost both sent each other outside into the wall there.
Yeah, that was really close.
Very intense. As I could see the leader actually spinning through turn 10, full lock counter steering, and again through turn 12 into 13. P2 directly on his bumper, looking for an inside opportunity. Can he find it? Yes, he can. That is a lead change right there, coming down onto the front start-finish line. Huge tail still coming off of the carts, going over the start-finish line into turn 1. Coming into lap. There's so many opportunities here for wins. The pole position is still leading out here.
Yeah, and our times have started
We've
tumbling.
had 2 different lead changes throughout the race here tonight.
What
Going
a
through
race
turn
already.
8 into the back section. There are still quite a few battles happening here as P2 gets a pretty slow start down the straightaway.
Looks like the driver in first place,
Switch for 2.
Elias, he just set the fastest time of the race with a 1:30.4, excuse me. That gap's still less than a second between 1 and 2 positions.
And as we come through turn 13, Elias, I believe, started P3 in this race. He has made up 2 positions already. Huge opportunities there, 2 different lead changes in the first 3 laps of the race. This is a very intense battle for the lead.
Wonderful, 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 wonderful. What a race already. As it looks like out of our 10 starters, only 9 of which are still going. Whether the 10th place driver was not able to make the race or had an unfortunate moment earlier on in the race, we will not know, as we are now down to 9 drivers competing in this pro final, in our pro league final.
This is a huge opportunity for them, and they know it. They know there's not much room for error here. Everything is at risk. The entire night leads up to this huge spray coming out of turn 5 as the leader comes into turn 7. Massive outside line with counter steer the whole way into turn 8. Huge battle for second as he looks up the inside. Can't quite grab it. Sticking off the tail. Trying to get any possible opportunity onto that back straight. Still can't quite find it. The battle continues for P2 into the back section into turn 10. The leader feeling pretty secure in his position right now. It is crucial that he maintains his line and doesn't make any mistakes over driving the cart.
The gap's come down a little bit. The gap's come down a little bit, actually, between first place and second, as now the gap is around 0.8 of a second. It was near a second earlier on in the race. And additionally, P2 has set they're very, very even on time. However, P2 still has the better time between everyone in the top 5 with a 1:28.7. We will see if that gap continues to come down as the rain certainly continues to come down here at OKC.
There is a lot of it, that's for sure. There's so much standing water, even in this corner of turn 7. This has kind of been a reference point throughout the live stream. It is crucial to get this corner right because there is so much speed leaning into 8 and 9.
And now, as a response, the gap has now gone back up to around a second as Elias.
The leader goes wide through turn 6. There's a huge fight for the lead right now. Both go outside. got an unfortunate run out of turn 6 through 7. The first 3 karts of the race are very close together now as they head through turn 9 onto the back section into the hairpin of turn 10. It is going to be interesting to see if anyone looks for any opportunities here.
What a
As
fight for the win.
P3 sticks to the outside. He's trying to make it stick. Can he make it happen? No, he can't. The positions stay the same.
That gap that Elias was trying to build despite setting such a great lap time. Last tour around, gone in just an incident, as it is so easy to just have a small moment that loses so much time with these conditions, as all of our top 3 drivers are so close to each other, all fighting for the win.
This is an incredibly close fight from everyone in this race. No one is giving up. No matter what struggles they have gone through, they are still giving it their all to put in the best possible lap times they can. It is a very respectable race out here.
Yes, it is. And actually, it looks like Elias has gotten back into the lead. Despite setting a lap time around 2 seconds off of the pace, off of his own pace, he's back in the lead. However, they are all within 1.5 seconds, our top 3 drivers.
As Elias starts to build a slight gap coming into turn 7 here, he has put a massive run on
That is a
P2,
big gap.
actually,
Wow.
taking a very outside line here, listening to the advice of Alex Roberts from our interview earlier. It is showing a great opportunity coming through here.
That is amazing. That gap was mere kart lengths rather than nearly a second now that Elias has pulled over P2. And it looks like P2 through P4 are all going to be at a pretty close battle unless they try to work together to get back to Elias. That battle for P2 and the rest of the podium positions being P2 and P3 are going to be fantastic to watch as this race progresses. That is, again, unless they try to work together to try and catch back up to the running away Elias.
And huge wheel spin from the front 2 drivers.
That's a move for the podium.
As the battle for P3 intensifies, they are side by side coming down the front straight into the start finish line in turn 1. They are still neck and neck. They don't even have a nose on each other, actually.
So much for working together. Those guys are gunning for it for P3 for
They
the
are
last spot on
making
the podium.
contact through turn 1. Huge wheel spin through turn 2, and he spins. There's a spin in the battle for the podium.
Wow.
Huge
Oh
splash
no.
of water in turn 5 from the leaders here. One of the contenders fighting for podium has just lost that opportunity. That is a huge, huge moment here in the race.
Wow. And all
As
this
the
fighting, they've
leaders
lost so much time.
The leaders have closed in. Elias is now defending strongly against
Wow. And
There's
since
a
the
very tight battle through turn 8, and
that's for the win.
and he gives up the opportunity. And Elias sticks on the inside. He holds it through into turn 9. Who is going to come out of turn?
They're side by side coming out of turn 10.
Elias has lost the run down the back straight into turn 10. Can he make it back?
They're
And they
still
make
gunning
contact.
for
They're
it.
side by side coming into turn 13. Huge puddle scattered across that corner. He takes a
That's it
plunge
for the
inside
win.
line. That was risky, and he takes it.
Liam now moves ahead of Elias, and all their fighting has allowed the now driver in P3 to close the gap to them. This could be a 3-way battle for the win. We'll see if Elias is able to get past Liam as this race continues to progress forward.
It all comes down to this. This is the final event of the night. This all or nothing for these league night drivers here at Orlando Kart Center. This is a huge opportunity for them to progress through the league night standings and work up to the Super League, which has a grand prize of a Skip Barber Racing School scholarship. It is an incredible opportunity for these drivers. Every single one of them have their eyes on.
Let's see these gaps as they come back towards us. Looks like Liam has pulled a bit of a gap to Elias, now around 0.8 of a second as Liam makes his way around turn 7. We see him go right past us. That is Liam. Then Elias right behind, both fighting for the win. And the gap now to P3 has increased as those guys are just setting the pace of the field.
Oh, and we have contact down the straight right after turn 9. We have a huge spin rejoining the track. Drivers weaving across, trying to maintain speed with the conditions at hand. That was a huge loss of pace.
Who spun? What position was that? Was that the guy on the podium?
Not too sure to be honest.
Okay, I don't think it is. It's now that it's the fight for the podium.
Oh, Elias is P4 now. Elias has spun.
It was
out of turn
Elias.
9.
Oh
He
no.
is currently battling for P4.
Oh man, incredible scenes. Elias, who was just in the lead just a couple of moments ago, now down fighting for P4.
And the checkered flag waves. Liam has taken the win of the final race here at League Night of Orlando Kart Center. What an intense finish to this race. Very unfortunate finish for Elias on the last lap, spinning down the straightaway after turn 9, after fighting for the lead very respectfully the entire race. That is very unfortunate for him.
What a fight for the win. What a fantastic race. That was absolutely incredible.
Very, very respectable performance from all drivers involved here tonight. As the drivers are coming in from this race, I'm going to switch over cameras as we are starting to run out of battery, and we will get right down to the pits to cover what these drivers are feeling and what they're thinking after such an intense race.
Absolutely. Great job, great job, great job.
Thank you, thank you. Same to you. I am running through the rain. And they said media coverage was easy.
Okay, so what's your battery at? Is it like
It's like 10.
okay. You have Discord on your phone?
What do you mean?
Well, to get back on this, because I'm currently signing on my account here.
This is on Discord.
Right, but if you, this is, here, check this out. This is my account, so I can't call my account. So you'd have to sign back in really quick. I call you.
Okay. Can we switch the camera real quick?
Sure.
All right, everybody, that was the final race of the night, but it is not over yet. There's still quite a bit to cover here. We're going to be doing some driver interviews. We're going to be covering the podiums. We're going to be getting thoughts, feelings, emotions, anything we can get from these drivers of what it's like to experience a race like this. As the rain continues to pick up across the track, you can see just how much standing water was there that the battle between Elias and Liam had to deal with. That dry line that we were so focused on before is now entirely covered with water in the center of the track on turn 7.
All right, filling this. Boom. Everyone. Okay, so then I'm going to sign out here, then you log in, then I'll call you, and then we'll go off to the race. The last bit was not you.
Not again.
right, and as we get our media coverage back up of the Orlando Kart Center League Night presented by Panthera Collective, we're honored and privileged to be able to work with Orlando Kart Center here. It is an incredible opportunity to work with them, and it has been some incredible racing so far. You can see just how bad the conditions were for these drivers here. That is all standing water back here in the back of the pit lane. As we can see some lightning forming on the horizon over there. This is a very, very brutal racing condition to be stuck in. Huge respect and props to the drivers here tonight. Wow, that is bad. I, there is a ton of water covering the pavement, so it was probably only going to get worse from here, and it is probably for the best that drivers are done for tonight. What's that?
This looks to be everyone left.
What an amazing event that we've had here tonight.
Absolutely. Do you know if Alex and Ethan left?
I think that they did.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they're actually going to do the recording because of the rain. But
That makes sense.
let's see if we can find someone to chat. We're just out there in the how'd it go? We're live streaming here. If you guys want to chat for us?
It was super fun.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was kind of hard to see from all the splash,
Yeah.
but it was my first time racing in the rain,
Oh wow.
and it was super cool experience.
What an introduction. My gosh.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow, that is incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's a lot of
So this Cam, we're here.
Hey, hello. Hi, how's it going?
It's good. Nice to meet you. What was your favorite moment of the race tonight?
Where are you racing? So on my way here, I called a friend of mine and I was like, hey, I never raced in the rain. Like, what should I do? And he gave me a few tips, and I made it to the A final. So
That's awesome.
that I'm super surprised. So I got lucky because a lot of other people spun out too. I just had a lot of fun, and yeah, it's a fun time, guys.
That's great. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good to see you. Yeah. What an incredible event.
Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream here for the league night here tonight. It was an incredible opportunity to be able to cover this for everyone here. We're hoping to be able to do this in the future. So if you enjoyed our coverage of this event here tonight, please be sure to put a good word in with the Orlando Kart Center. It is greatly appreciated.
It really helps us, like legit. Yeah.
It genuinely helps. So anything that we can do to improve, we are more than open to. Anything that we can do to bring better coverage or improve on some of our mistakes from these last 2 days, we are more than open to. Again, my name is Cam. This is Stuart. We're here with Panthera Collective covering the Orlando Kart Center League Night for Thursday and Friday here. It was an incredible opportunity to be able to cover this for you guys. I had an amazing time. I'm sure Stuart did too. He was a little under the weather. But just to put in perspective how bad these conditions truly were, just take a look at that.
All right, thank you all so much for watching. We're gonna go ahead and cut it. Thank you again, everyone. Fantastic event, and hope to see you soon.